Hello friends. Welcome to the fictional vortex. How are you all? So in this video, we will see what if Naruto mastered the Sharingan and reanimation techniques. But before we start, if you want more amazing stuff like this, then be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video. Also, if possible, share this video with your friends. Now without wasting any more time, let's begin the story. It was a quiet evening as Naruto was walking towards home from the orphanage house to his home. He was not having a good day because Konoha had always been mistreating him because of the Kyuubi inside of him. As he was walking, he thought to himself, "I hate you, Yondaime. Why did you have to go and sacrifice your life for his sake of Konoha? I wish you were still here, it is just lonely for me without you." As he turned to the corner of the Inuzukas and the Hyuga residences, he sees his house and makes his way inside. As he settled himself down, he changed to his pajamas and then went upstairs to his room and took a book from his shelf. It was entitled, Chakra Control Made Easy. As he reads it, he came across a section on using the Sharingan, which is what the Uchiha clan had developed. Naruto wanted to know more about this technique because he wanted to have a Sharingan eye just like Sasuke with the help of the Kyuubi. The only person that would help him obtain the Sharingan was Sasuke's older brother, Uchiha Itachi. As Naruto turned off the light and went to sleep, he suddenly hears a disturbing sound from outside. As he woke up, he sees civilians outside and flooding the streets with their weapons as if they were ready to kill someone. And to Naruto's surprise, the civilians are targeting him. But Naruto tried not to let himself be detected by the civilians because this would spell trouble for him. He closed the blinds and went back to sleep, but not before he heard a loud boom sound from outside. As Naruto woke up, he could see the civilians already attacking his house with rocks and burning papers. At that moment, Naruto knew that his house was being set on fire, so he puts his clothes on and went out the back door to avoid getting caught. He then heads for the Hokage's tower, but as he ran, he spotted the civilians coming after him. "There is the demon. Get him," one of the civilians shouted. "Make sure he doesn't make it out alive," shouted another civilian. As Naruto sees the civilians running towards him, he soon realized that he was trapped and had no hope of surviving this onslaught. As he turned to the corner of the Konoha streets and headed for the Hokage's tower, he spots someone, with a sword on his back and a raven-haired kid with dark eyes. It was Uchiha Itachi, the older brother of Sasuke who possesses the Sharingan and other techniques of the Uchiha clan. As he sees Naruto, he thought to himself, "Naruto, why am I not surprised to see you out here? Looks like I better get you out of the danger zone." Naruto was immediately relieved to see Uchiha Itachi out at this time of the night, but he asked him, "Itachi, what are you doing out here? And why have you come to rescue me? I couldn't let you die out here, because you are special to Konoha and I can't allow someone from our own village to be beaten to a pulp by these civilian thugs. I'm the only one that can protect you now from the villagers. Let me take you to the Hokage," said Itachi as he carried Naruto on his back. But as we're walking, they spotted the civilians who surrounded them, blocking their path of escape. "Ah, so you are the leader of the Uchiha clan, aren't you? We are glad you have captured Naruto for us, and now we would give you a chance to finish that demon off yourself," replied the merchant. "He's right, that kid is the demon and he could harm us all. If you would destroy him, we would all be thankful," replied another civilian. But as Itachi looked at the kid in the eyes, he sees as nothing more than just a normal child with no family to look after him and being dumped at the orphanage. Itachi could also see that Naruto hasn't been taken in by anyone in or outside of Konoha because of the beast inside of him scaring the civilians. This had also attracted shinobis who also wanted to execute Naruto because of their hatred of the monster that attacked this village, leaving it in shambles. Itachi wasn't so happy with what the monster did, but he didn't blame Naruto for it, and he knows this because of the way he was mistreated and abused. He can't allow this child to suffer anymore. You people are really crazy if you think this child perpetrated such a heinous act on his own home. I don't see him posing any sort of threat to you, and what makes you think you can execute him just because of the monster inside of him? This child has suffered enough already, and I think it's about time you people stop shunning him. I will not allow you to continue your campaign of harassment on innocent little youth," replied Itachi. "You are willing to let that demon scum loose on the streets so that it can cause even more chaos? Are you feeling all right, Itachi? He must be killed to reduce the threat here in Konoha because we don't want any more damages done here," replied a civilian. "I'm fine, but what you guys plan to do to Naruto will not be tolerated. I will not allow the likes of you to lay a hand on this kid. Now step aside before I put all of you in a world of darkness for all eternity," replied Itachi with a tone of warning. As the civilians looked at him, they were in deep shock. They couldn't understand why a member of the Uchiha clan would take interest in a kid like Naruto, but it was pointless for them to argue any further with him. As Itachi and Naruto left the mob of civilians, they went down the street towards the Hokage's tower for safety while the Anbu guards cleared the streets. "Itachi-ne-san, why'd I get the feeling that I am always being rejected and hated by the people here in my own home? I just want this village to see me as a hero for once and not some monster trying to destroy this place," replied Naruto sadly. "I feel your pain, Naruto-san, but you shouldn't have gotten in harm's way. You know that they already dislike you, but for them to go this far, I simply cannot forgive them if you were left for dead. And furthermore, you should have come to me for assistance," replied Itachi. "Yeah, you are right. I can't stand those civilians either. The Hokage wanted to see me, right?" asked Naruto. "Yes, he is really getting worried about you, and even half the population of Konoha including the clansmen are worried about you too. We cannot keep them waiting, let's go, Naruto," replied Itachi as he carries the boy on his arms, and then together, they ran off towards the Hokage's office to avoid being caught by the villagers. Meanwhile, back in the Hokage's office, the Sandaime was busy with his paperwork when he heard a knock at the door. "Come in," he ordered. The door opened and the two gatekeepers of Konoha, Izumo Kamizuki and Katetsu Hagane, entered the office and says to him, "Hokage-sama, we're so sorry to have interrupted you, but Uzumaki Naruto was found at the hands of the villagers. They were nearly ready to kill him until he was saved by Uchiha Itachi. They are on their way to see you now. However, Naruto is still in shock after he was traumatized by the civilians." "What did you say? Naruto was attacked by the villagers again? Are you sure of that? Why does every bad thing have to happen to him?" asked the Hokage. He was really beginning to get upset over the villagers harassing Naruto, and moreover, he was really worried about his adoptive grandson's safety while he was in the village. "Sarutobi-sama, as your advisors, we think that whatever is inside the boy is to be blamed for the attack on the village 12 years ago. Even after the Yondaime sealed it inside of him, it shouldn't have been a serious threat to Konoha. We know that he isn't a normal child, but the villagers still think that he is a weapon ready to cause mass destruction throughout the village. We suggest that he be put under the protection of the Anbu guards until the situation can be resolved," replied Homura. "He's right. Naruto needs to have supervision with him at all time when he's in the streets of Konoha so that he won't be ambushed by the villagers. We feel that he might be in more danger without anyone to look after him. If this continues, then the entire village will be in jeopardy as you know it," added Kaharu. The Hokage nodded his head, then paused for a moment and puffed on his pipe as he remembered the day that the Kyuubi attacked the village and taking the lives of nearly every shinobi here. It was a nightmare that he simply cannot forget, but there was something else that pressed his concern over the safety of the blonde. If the Akatsuki was to obtain the Kyuubi, Naruto's life would seriously take its turn for the worst, but he can't afford to let that happen. "Naruto-san, what's happened to you, my boy? I don't like to complain, but why does trouble brew on you every time I see you out in the streets? I know you are trying to stay out of danger, but this is not really what I meant," he thought to himself. "Send them both in, and order up an emergency meeting for all the families of Konoha, and I will need to have a talk with Itachi about implanting a special power that will help Naruto to get stronger with the Kyuubi inside," he ordered the Chunins. "Hi, Hokage-sama," replied the Chunins as they dashed out of the old man's office and waited outside of the Hokage's tower for Itachi and Naruto's arrival. Meanwhile, back in the streets of Konoha, Naruto was beginning to get tired after being on Itachi's back for hours after their encounter with the civilians. So Itachi sets him down on the ground, grabbed his hand, and they both walked towards the Hokage's office. But before they even got there, they turned to see more villagers coming after them with weapons. "Looks like we are not out of the woods yet, Itachi-ne-san. Let's hurry," replied Naruto. But Itachi didn't move as he turns to look at the villagers, then at the blonde. "Go on ahead, Naruto-san. I'll catch up with you after I deal with these villagers here," he replied. Naruto was shocked to hear that Itachi was staying behind. "Are you sure about this? I can't allow you to get in harm's way, Itachi-ne-san. You are the only person that can help me now. You can't let me go on my own like this," he protested. Little boy, go on, I'll be fine, okay? You don't need to worry about me. I promise I will be okay. You need to go find some help, okay? Said Itachi. But no matter how hard Naruto tried to refuse to leave, he did so anyway so that he wouldn't be in harm's way. As he continued onwards, he could hear the sounds of the villagers gaining on him faster than a speeding bullet. He then climbed upon rooftops of several houses, heads toward the ninja academy, and then made a quick right turn to the Hokage's office. Naruto was exhausted when he arrived there and sees the Chunins. Izumo-san. Katetsu-san. Sorry for the hold-up, but the Hokage wanted to see me and Itachi, right? Naruto. Thank goodness you are here. Where is Itachi-san? Is he still with you? They asked him. He was held up by the villagers, but he told me he will catch up. Now, can you please take me to the Sandaime because you don't want to see me getting pummeled out here by the villagers? Said Naruto. The Chunins nodded their heads and led Naruto upstairs to the office. Once Naruto entered the room, he spots the Hokage at his desk and said, Oji-san. Is there something that you needed to tell me about when you wanted me here? The old man looked up from his papers and sees Naruto in front of him. He wasn't surprised when the boy entered the office so soon, so he got up and picked the boy up while saying to him, Naruto-kun, thank you for arriving on such short notice. I hope you didn't have too much problems getting here. Were you held up by the villagers again when Itachi sent you here? Yes, I was nearly held hostage by them and they nearly tried to kill me, but thanks to some help from Itachi I was able to make it here with no problems, but I need your help. You see, I can't keep getting harassed by the villagers like this each time when I am out on the streets. I know you wanted to protect me and all, but I just don't have enough protection on my own. What am I going to do now? Asked Naruto sadly. The old man paused for a moment and then went back to his desk while setting Naruto down on the tabletop. He then looked outside the window and sees the villagers as rants of, kill the spawn. Also known as, get rid of the demon jailer. While breathing a sigh of disappointment at how ugly this will become if the villagers and civilians lay a hand on the container of the Kyuubi and how it would cause serious problems for Konoha, not to mention releasing the monster free again. Minato-san. Ever since you sealed the Kyuubi inside your son, we've tried our best to keep him safe here, but despite how much he was shunned, it would be hard for him to be considered a hero and this would cause the boy to wreak havoc all around the village. But don't worry, I've thought of a plan to make him stronger even with the Kyuubi inside of him, just you wait. Though the Hokage. A few minutes later, Uchiha Itachi arrived in the office with cuts, scrapes and other injuries all over his body from the beatings he took and the weapons impaled onto him. He then spots the Chunins who were guarding the Hokage's office and said to them, sorry for arriving so late, I was outnumbered by the civilians after I sent Nato-san here. I need to see him, please, and before I do, I need some water and the medical shinobi to heal my wounds. He said to them and collapses to the ground in pain. The Chunins were shocked at what they saw and quickly lifted Itachi up and took him to the Hokage's office where they set him down on the couch and placed towels and blankets on him to dry off. Afterwards, he drank a glass of water to help calm him down. He then spots Naruto on the Hokage's desk and walked towards him and said, thank goodness you are here, Naruto-san, I was so worried about you, but now that you are here, you wanted to see me, Hokage-sama. Yes, Itachi-san. The reason why I called you here is because ever since the Kyuubi was sealed inside of Naruto, he was still considered weak, but now I have come up with a plan to make him stronger even with the monster inside of him. And this is where I need your help, and since the Uchiha clan possesses the Sharingan just like Kakashi, I was wondering if you could implant some of that power inside of Naruto so that he can possess the same type of power like Sasuke does. With the Kyuubi's power combined, Naruto will become a completely different person. What do you think? Asked the Hokage. Me? Implanting the Sharingan inside of Naruto? You are not serious about that, are you? That could be dangerous, and the Sharingan is very important to our clan. If this gets into someone else's hands, it could pose a serious threat to our clan. Yes, I know what the deceased fourth Hokage did for Naruto. And I could care less about my clan seeing the boy as a monster and not accepting him as a hero. But teaching him the Sharingan, and implanting it inside of the container of the Kyuubi would jeopardize the village and I don't feel that the boy would be ready to have such an advanced technique. And I don't think my father Fugaku would be willing to take Naruto in as a student because when he first met the Yondaime after Naruto was born, He wanted the boy executed because of the Kyuubi inside of him. I don't want to put the kid in any more danger, and with the Sharingan inside of him, it could blind his eye for sure. Besides, I think Kakashi would be able to train him on how to use the Sharingan, replied Itachi. Please, do it for Naruto. Okay. I am only asking you this as a favor, and Kakashi unfortunately doesn't have time to take on new students, and taming Naruto to use the Sharingan would be near impossible. If I were in his shoes, he would probably say the same thing, so I leave him in your capable hands, Itachi-sama, said the Hokage with a serious look in his eyes. Besides, I'm sure Sasuke wouldn't mind having Naruto as a part of his family for a change, since he also possesses the same Tenkei as you do. I'm sure Fugaku would be more than happy to train him in how to use the Sharingan. Itachi-san, is this true? You really are going to teach me how to use the Sharingan? Asked Naruto. Itachi looks at Naruto for a moment and then smiles at him while saying to him, yes, of course, but you better work hard, little man. I do not want to hear any complaints from you, or else your training will be suspended and you will have to leave empty-handed. Is that clear? Naruto then nods with the agreement set on him. Good, that's what I like to hear, Naruto. Now, you are coming home with me, we can't keep our father waiting, replied Itachi. He then carried Naruto on his back and then exited the Hokage's office while Naruto waved goodbye to his grandfather figure. On their way outside, they spotted Anbu guards outside trying to calm the villagers down before chaos spreads in the streets. They had no idea of what was going to happen until the villagers spotted Itachi holding Naruto and started going after him, but they were blocked by the Anbu guards, preventing any harm to be laid on the child and the Uchiha clan leader. The guards escorted Naruto and Itachi away from the villagers and moved them to a safer distance as the most direct route to the Uchiha compound. Once they were safely escorted, the guards returned to duty and cleared the streets of the villagers before returning to their posts. A few minutes later, Itachi and Naruto had arrived at the Uchiha compound. To his amazement, the compound was like a huge mansion with rooms all over the place, and they were all adjacent to one another just like the Hyuga compound. The rooms were spacious and very beautiful indeed. As Naruto walked into the compound entrance, Itachi directed him to the living room and said, "Well, Naruto, here we are. Welcome to the Uchiha compound, where our home is your home. Wait right here while I find Fugaku-san." He then left the room. Naruto then sat down on the sofa and placed his bag containing his ninja supplies and other tools on the floor while waiting for Uncle Fugaku to show up. In the meantime, he took out a book that the Sandaime placed in his bag before he left the office. It was entitled, How to Manage Chakra Control, which explains more about elemental chakra and basic chakra for ninjutsu and genjutsu along with wind chakra. Naruto knows now that in order to build up chakra he must be one with nature and wind just like his father. He then took out one of his scrolls that contained instructions on how to perform genjutsu, but no sooner than he did that, Uchiha Fugaku entered the room and sees Naruto on the couch and said to Itachi, "So, this is the son of the Yondaime who is trying to become a Sharingan user and obtain the title of Hokage, right?" "Yes, San. That's the kid that I had saved from near death after his encounter with the villagers. I brought him here at the request of the Hokage for safety until further notice. If Naruto can possess the Sharingan eye even with the Kyuubi inside of him, we might make him the strongest member of our clan," replied Itachi. The father looked at Itachi for a moment with an icy glare in his eyes. "You are not serious, are you? You want me to turn this boy into a weapon of mass destruction? There is no way that I will make Naruto a Sharingan user. It could violate the code of the Uchihas. Why have you brought him here?" Itachi explained to his father that despite how much hate the villagers were giving Naruto, it was either that he learns to master the Sharingan, or be executed for having the demon inside of him. He also told his father that Naruto needed someone to look after him while he was here in Konoha. Bekwase. The village needs a new hero to defend this place with honor and pride so that the villagers will respect him more. Furthermore, Itachi informed his father not to tell anyone of the fox hidden in Naruto or there will be dire consequences. Putting that aside, Fugaku walked over to the boy and said to him, "So, you are Uzumaki Naruto, I presume? Well, let me be the first to welcome you to the Uchiha clan. You may know me as Uchiha Fugaku, the clan head and the father of Uchiha Sasuke. I'm sure you know him, don't you?" "Yes, of course. Who wouldn't know Sasuke? He's the prodigy of the Uchihas, right? He had high hopes of mastering the Sharingan and other techniques. I wanted to be just like him, but I was always dead last of the class. Everyone wants me to succeed, including Master Iruka, whom I consider as family. How do you know my father anyway? Asked Naruto. Your father, the Yondaime, always had high hopes for you and wants to see you succeed with your life. Since you have a bloodline limit and you possess something that not even the entire village would know, you need to be implanted with another type of power besides using the Kyuubi. The Sharingan is another powerful technique, though not as powerful as the Mangekyo Sharingan, but it's the bloodline of the Uchiha clan and our lifeline. We wouldn't go anywhere without it. I brought you here so that you can actually be the next user of the Sharingan with the help from your mystery power inside you, replied Fugaku. You're kidding me. So that would mean I am inheriting the Uchiha's prized technique, the Sharingan. But even though I am not an Uchiha, why did you choose me to inherit it? Asked Naruto. Well, let's just call it a favor from the Hokage himself. Okay, before we begin any mental training, we need to work on your physical strength. How good are you at Genjutsu, Ninjutsu, and Taijutsu? Asked Itachi. To answer your question, Nei-san. I am not so good with Genjutsu. Though, I am only skilled in Taijutsu and Ninjutsu. I've heard of illusion techniques but never had found the time to perform any of them. But now that you mentioned the Sharingan, it has many special abilities, right? Asked Naruto. Itachi paused for a moment and then placed his hands on the blonde's shoulder and then said to him, yes, the Sharingan has many special powers and abilities, just like the Byakugan, which is used by the Hyuga clan. The Sharingan allows the user to understand the attack of his or her opponent almost before they know what attacks are being used. Also, the Sharingan is used to see the flow of chakra within another person, but to a lesser extent. Second, when this technique is first activated, there is a different number of atomo around the pupil of the eye. If it's used extensively for a longer amount of time, then the Sharingan evolves and a new tomo is added. The maximum number of tomos that a Sharingan wielder can have is 3. And once the user has all 3 tomos, he would then be able to predict movement from any opponent even though he isn't at the same pace as the opponent is, replied Itachi. Yeah, that's great and all, but what exactly is a tomo? That is something that I have never heard of before, replied Naruto. Fugaku seemed a little bit disappointed in Naruto for not knowing what tomo is, but he didn't want to take it too personally. You came all the way down here to learn the Sharingan and you don't know what a tomo is? You won't be able to know how to wield such power that we do if you don't know the basics now, would you? Naruto then stood up and said to Fugaku, oh, come on, Fugaku-san. This is really my first time in learning something new and the tomo thing is too new to me. So if you would explain to me what that is based on what you told me about how it is applied in the Sharingan, I can know it a little bit better. And besides, I don't know everything about the Sharingan yet. Let's do this step by step. Fugaku sighed in disappointment but finally said, you really are a funny one, aren't you? Okay. The tomo is the swirl that represents kamas or usual forms of magatama in the eyes. In this case the tomo is developed in our eyes and when the Sharingan is activated, the swirls in our eyes will begin forming. The maximum number of tomos that we Uchiha clan members can have is 3 as IAHVE said earlier. The only advanced Sharingan technique that is available is the Mangekyo Sharingan, which will only be gained by the loss of someone close to you at your own hands, replied Fugaku. You mean, you have to kill someone to gain such an advanced technique like that? Sacrificing another person's life to gain an attack? That's just scary? Yes, that kind of thing will happen. But don't worry, even if my life goes into the afterlife, a part of me will always be with you, just like the 4th, I promise you. Said Fugaku while patting Naruto on the shoulder with his hands. Now getting back to my point, you know that the Sharingan is capable of a hypnosis attack, right? All of this is done through simple eye contact. Also when the Sharingan is used in conjunction with other aspects of the Sharingan, the user is able to perfectly mimic every single move the opponent makes before they have a chance to make theirs. Keep in mind that more advanced Sharingan users can take the hypnosis ability up to a higher level to trick and trap opponents in an illusion, and the potency of the Sharingan's illusion is dependent on the user's knowledge and skill while implementing Genjutsu. That's about all the information there is on the basics of the Sharingan. Do you understand now what I have gone over with you, Naruto? Asked Fugaku. Naruto looked at him for a moment and then breathed with a heavy sigh and said, yes, I understood every single word you said. But even if I do possess such a power unimaginable like that, it would only do more harm than good. I don't want to be evil and all, but are you sure this will be safe for me to use? Asked Naruto with a worried look. Naruto, since when does a power like the Sharingan becomes dangerous? Me and Sasuke all know that the technique is safe to use, but be careful when using it. The technique can produce unknown side effects on your body, reduce your strength, and eating away your chakra. We don't want to see you losing your strength, would we? Your life will never be in any danger, understand? Replied Itachi while placing his hand on Naruto's shoulder, but the blonde shrugged it off. He did, however, surmise the villagers for attacking him in the first place and demanded revenge thereafter. Stupid villagers, I will get you for trying to harm an innocent child like me, and I swear to my father's grave, you will pay dearly, he thought to himself. Well, Naruto, I guess that's it for my lecture on how the Sharingan works. I hope you learned something here today, Naruto-kun. Keep this lesson forever in your heart, my friend, and take it wherever you go, okay? Remember, strength is the key to success, replied Fugaku as he sees Naruto outside. Once the blonde says goodbye to the man and gone out of sight, Itachi stood on the rooftop with his Sharingan activated and thought evilly, you don't know the danger you are in, foolish boy. I will make sure your teacher and mentor and my father, Fugaku, enjoys a slow and painful death along with the rest of the clan family members. Then the Sharingan will be transplanted into your eyes before his death. Just wait, the worst is yet to come, Naruto. Even you don't stand a chance against me. He then vanished into a cloud of smoke without Naruto noticing that he is already in danger. Flashback, Naruto. Your father always had high hopes for you, and if he was here, he'd be as proud of you as I am. Now I know you have been hated a lot by the villagers, but you don't have to take this line down and you don't need to listen to their harassment anymore. They don't know anything about you, but that's going to take some time. However, you still possess something that the whole village will never know, and it's kept in secrecy. There will still be hatred affecting you, and with more hate, there is more pain. Since you have the same bloodline limit as your father, you need to be implanted with a new power, the Sharingan. With the Sharingan, you will be unstoppable, replied Fugaku. Naruto looked at him for a moment and said, possessing the Sharingan along with the power of the Kyuubi would be dangerous, don't you think? It could seriously conflict with my chakra network if I have two types of power at the same time. I'm not sure if I am able to control the Sharingan, but I'll give it my all. Good, now that's what I like to hear. You got guts. I'll say that for you, kid. You never back down from a challenge, do you? Asked Fugaku. Nope, I am always looking for a new challenge and taking on missions that are above genin level. But yes, I am ready for almost anything that comes my way, replied Naruto with a smile. Fugaku smiled at Naruto while ruffling his hair. Naruto, you will become a fine shinobi and make this village proud, I just know it. He thought to himself. He then took Naruto into the living room and discussed with him about the basics of the Sharingan and the chakra control involved. He also explained to him the special abilities that the Sharingan has when a user activates it. He also mentioned to him about the advanced version of the Sharingan and warned Naruto about the dangerous secrets behind it. You mean the Sharingan has a lot more than that? Wow. I never knew how powerful the technique really is. I really should learn to be careful before I start using the Sharingan, and I don't want to cause any harm or pain to anyone with it. Fugaku-sama, are you sure that I am able to control something like this, because this is actually the first time that I was granted a new power besides the one I have now. Besides, I am not sure if I am capable enough to use it, said Naruto with a worried look. Fugaku looked at Naruto for a moment and paused to breathe a sigh of relief while putting his arm around the boy's shoulder. Listen, Naruto. Not all techniques pose any type of threat in this village. Some techniques are harmless and do less damage, but others do more harm than good if it's being overused. And take my word for it, Naruto. As long as you conserve chakra usage of the Sharingan, you will be fine, okay? I promise. Nothing will happen to you. Now I know you are not really used to this kind of power, but we'll help you the best we can to make you more comfortable in using it. And once you have mastered the basics, you should have no problems with the Sharingan, alright? Naruto knows the man wanted what was best for him and smiled at him while breathing a sigh of relief. With his newfound power acquired from the Uchiha clan, he was one step closer to surpassing Sasuke and proving he wasn't the dead last of his class. End flashback. That evening as Naruto continued walking around the village for a while, he thought to himself, maybe Fugaku-sama was right after all. As long as I have this kind of power, I will be fine. As Naruto continued walking, he spots Kakashi waving at him above the trees. "Hey there, Naruto. What are you doing out here this late at night?" asked Kakashi while placing his book back into his pouch. "Oh, hi Kakashi-sensei. I was just out here taking a walk. Itachi took me to meet his father earlier and he taught me the basics of the Sharingan or something, but I am not really supposed to tell anyone about the technique though. Anyway, what are you doing here?" asked Naruto. Kakashi looked at Naruto for a moment and was surprised that he was able to learn such a technique from Sasuke at this early stage, especially the Uchiha prodigy that taught the boy the jutsu. "Itachi, just what have you gotten yourself into? You know Naruto isn't ready for that sort of dangerous weapon yet. If he goes around posseing that it could jeopardize the village," thought Kakashi. "Sensei, is something wrong? What's on your mind?" asked Naruto with a worried look. "Ah heh. Nothing's wrong really, it's just that, you just got yourself a lot powerful now with the Sharingan, that's all," said Kakashi with a nervous look on his face. "Damn, I really spilled the beans on that one. I better tell the Hokage about this and then warn him about the danger Naruto is in," he thought to himself. Naruto's sweat dropped and said, "Okay, Kakashi, are you all right or something? Because I think this will be a really good time for you to get a hold of yourself or so." "Sorry about that Naruto. I have some errands to run, see you later," said Kakashi as he ran off into the distance to the Hokage's office. What the hell was that all about? Weird, thought Naruto as he follows Kakashi to the Hokage's office. As he jumped on the window of the Hokage's office, he peered inside and sees his sensei already arriving in. "Oh, Kakashi, what brings you here to my office?" asked the Hokage. "Hokage-sama, well, I wanted to ask you something. It's about Naruto's technique he learned from the Uchiha clan," replied Kakashi. "What about it?" asked the Hokage while doing his paperwork on his desk as he ignored the masked Jonin. "Well, based on Naruto's skills, using the most dangerous technique like the Sharingan could pose a serious threat to him. I don't think that jutsu will be very helpful for Naruto and it could blind his eyesight without him noticing it. Should the technique go out of control, he could have difficulty controlling it," replied Kakashi. The Hokage looked up from his desk and breathed a sigh of relief while saying, "Kakashi, there is no need to worry about Naruto. I'm sure Fugaku will monitor his progress as his training goes on. I'm sure that technique taught to him won't be much of a threat to him, especially for a child his age." "Yes, I know that, Hokage-sama. But what if Itachi turns against Naruto and kills the people that he loves? Will that mean more danger to him? What if Orochimaru or the Akatsuki tries to rob him of his powers? Would he be safe then?" protested Kakashi. "That's what I am worried about him. I know you are trying to do what's best for him, but I can also protect him with my powers." "I appreciate your full confidence and support, Kakashi. But you must realize that Naruto is probably more than capable of handling this with little to less help, so in case he is in an emergency or unable to control his powers when fighting opponents that are not up to the challenge of a low-level genin like him, then we can always send in backup for him. After all, the clan heirs of Konoha are always there for him whenever he needs them," replied the Hokage. The masked Jonin breathed a sigh of relief and said, "Yeah, you're right, but still I will still give the full support to him and I might have him sign the dog summoning contract later on. He might also have to master elemental chakra later on with or without his powers." The Hokage looked at him for a moment and smiled. He always knew a man like Kakashi would pledge to protect the people he loves, even after he lost his mentor and his close teammates. This gave him the chance to show Naruto the ropes and help him make better choices for the future ahead of him. Kakashi was sort of a lazy Jonin at first, but he cared a lot for his teammates and for Naruto. Teaching him how to control his new power seemed to be difficult at first, especially with the Kyuubi sealed inside of him. But still, Kakashi still cares a lot about Naruto after his former sensei died. If there was anything that Naruto had difficulty with, he can always turn to his #1 mentor for help. The Hokage knows Kakashi very well and how he obtained the Sharingan. In fact, he feels that both Kakashi and Naruto share the same type of powers and they might face the Akatsuki later on. But he fears that the Sharingan may not be enough though. "Kakashi, you obtained the Sharingan when you were little. I understand that you were not used to such a power first, but how did you feel? You have every reason to be bitter, and you have every right to hate something you are not proud of, but you must fight it, and protect those you love. Do you understand why I am telling you all this? I'm proud of who you are today, and as a special Jonin instructor like you, take care of Naruto," replied the Hokage. Kakashi looked at the Hokage for a moment and smiled at him. It was his first time that he showed a fondness for the blonde when he got his powers from Itachi. However, he always has a caring side and can sometimes be carefree. But still, Kakashi has his doubts about Itachi, and hopes for Naruto to succeed throughout the time he spends in Konoha. He then bids goodbye to the old man as he leaves his office while finding out some information regarding Itachi and his true motives. That night, as Naruto continued his walk around the streets of Konoha, he started to think about what the Hokage had told Kakashi about his skills. Flashback. Kakashi-sensei, as I have noticed, Naruto has gained the power of the Sharingan, but he seems to be having trouble getting used to the power of the technique. Even though he did learn all the basics of what the Sharingan does and the special abilities it had, he needs special help, replied the Hokage. What sort of special help, Hokage-sama? Asked Kakashi, not knowing what this was about. He was determined to know how Naruto had come to obtain such a power unimaginable like that. Well, since the village hated Naruto so much because of the monster hidden inside of him, Itachi took him in and then his father became his teacher and went over the basics of the Sharingan with him. Though he did fine for knowing what it does and all, he isn't really quite up to speed on using the technique because of his chakra limits, and with that power it could cause disruption flow with his chakra network, replied the Hokage. I see, but even if it does disrupt his chakra flow network, I could have some sort of technique that can reverse that. Even Jiraiya can also reverse any side effects the Sharingan might cause. With him under my tutelage, I can easily make him stronger even with the skill he currently has right now. I could teach him all about the basics of chakra control once he graduates from the academy, said Kakashi musingly. The Hokage took a seat at his desk while puffing through his pipe and finally said, "Very well, Kakashi-senpai, it will be up to you to look after him and oversee his training, but not many students will be able to pass your exams though, that's the only fair warning that I will remind you of." He then resumed his paperwork with a smile on his face while Kakashi watched with amusement and thought, this should be interesting. With Naruto under my tutelage, I will be able to make him into a splendid ninja of Konoha. End flashback. As Naruto puts Kakashi's words into his mind while walking around the streets, he suddenly sees someone waving at him. It was Sakura, who was trying to find him. Naruto walks over to her and greets her. "Hey, Naruto. Where have you been all morning? I have been looking everywhere for you," said Sakura as she walked towards him. "Oh, hi Sakura, sorry I didn't meet you earlier. I was trained at Sasuke's compound with a new power. It was Itachi that took me in to train me, but I am not so sure if I can trust that guy. He is good though, but deep inside, he might have a dark secret that not everyone knows about," replied Naruto. "You were training with Itachi Uchiha, the big brother of the Uchiha clan?" asked Sakura shockingly, not knowing what power Naruto would possess. "Yes, but what are you scared about, Sakura? Fugaku-sama told me Itachi is harmless, so he wouldn't be able to hurt anyone, not even his own family," said Naruto nervously. "Oh, I see. But still, Naruto, you really should be careful about who you hang out with. You don't know Itachi that well and you would easily end up in harm's way. I am worried for you, Naruto. Please be careful, okay?" she said sadly while putting her hands on his shoulder. "Thanks Sakura, I promise you, nothing bad will happen to me, okay? I can assure you I will be fine as long as I have someone to look after me. But since Fugaku-sama trained me and explained to me the basics of his techniques, he said that there may be some side effects that may cause blindness or poor vision. I haven't gotten used to the technique at first, but slowly, I had become adapted to it. That's why I intend to get stronger to surpass Sasuke," replied Naruto. Sakura looked at Naruto for a moment and smiled. It was the first time that she ever showed that smile to him. She never did show any emotions when she first met Naruto, but didn't want to show it. However, she was the first person to ever look up to him and might think of him as family and friend. When she heard about Sasuke's family training him, she was afraid of what the Uchiha clan could do to Naruto if he isn't protected. But still, Sakura thought that if anyone can protect Naruto, it has to be her. "Naruto, whatever you are doing, please be careful. I know I've been a burden, but please, for my sake, I don't want you to get hurt out there," replied Sakura as she hugged him tightly. Naruto felt loved as he blushes at Sakura for the hug. He then went to Iruka's place for the night. As he arrived at Iruka's house, he knocked on the door, and the scarred Chunin opened it. He was surprised to see Naruto at this time of the night. "Oh hi, Naruto. What brings you here to my place?" asked Iruka. "Hey Iruka-san. I just came by from Sasuke's compound and I was wondering if I can spend the night with you. I do not want to sleep alone because I feel that I might not be safe from Itachi," replied Naruto. Iruka looked at Naruto for a moment and was surprised. "Itachi Uchiha? You mean he was the one that graduated from the Ninja Academy at the age of 13 and passed the Chunin exams? He also possesses the Mangekyo Sharingan as well?" "Yes, that's him. However, in Itachi's case," began Naruto. "In Itachi's case, the Uchiha clan was the most dangerous and the most powerful clan in Konoha, but they have been in conflict a lot and they were most hated by the elders of our village. Even the Hokage had warned me about Itachi and his family. Their tragic tale just scares me and I don't even want to go near them. But how did Itachi take you in, Naruto?" he asked him. "Well, Iruka, since Fugaku wanted me to become one of them, he requested to his older son to bring me back to his compound to do some training and that I might be able to possess the Sharingan, but I told him I don't have that kind of power and it might be too risky to use. Any mistakes of this technique could cost lives. But Itachi said that even with the Kyuubi power inside of me, the Sharingan would suppress it somehow," replied Naruto, not knowing all the full extent of his newly acquired power. "Naruto, I fear for your safety, because you are my primary concern, and I am worried that you might get hurt or something when you were with Itachi. I don't want you to suffer the same fate just like what happened between you and the villagers. Now I know you are not able to take care of yourself just yet, but we will do whatever we can to support you. Even the Hokage and the families of this village will do their best to help you. They advised that you stay here to be trained until you become a full-fledged shinobi. Take my word for it, Naruto. You are special to us, so keep that in mind, okay?" replied Iruka with a smile as he gently pats the blonde's head. "Thanks Iruka-sensei. I will be sure to let you know if there is any change in Itachi's behavior. And I appreciate your support, but I am not sure about Itachi himself and for whatever reason he adopted me to be a part of his family, I am not sure if I can handle it. However, if in any case that I am in danger are you able to contact the Anbu since they deal with crimes that are committed in or outside of Konoha, right?" asked Naruto. "Well, yes, the Anbu will be of help, but they will only be contacted when there is a real emergency in the Konoha village. But I am sure they will gladly be of service to you, Naruto. However, the Anbu can help you or turn against you, but that depends on their skill and battle style. But like I said, caution is strongly advised. We villagers do not want to see you get hurt, okay?" replied Iruka. Naruto felt a little better after seeking comfort from Iruka, his father figure. He then says goodbye and then heads back to his apartment and hit the sack for the night. As he was prepping for bed, he could see something pelting at his window, but it wasn't the villagers. It was Hinata Hyuga. As Naruto sees her outside, he quickly gets out of bed and goes outside to greet her. "Hi Hinata, what brings you here to my apartment?" he asked. Hinata looked at Naruto for a moment and said shyly, "Well, I mean my brother, Neji wanted me to check on you and make sure you are not hurt or anything." She appears to have formed a close friendship with Naruto since childhood and the two have become close since then. Naruto then placed his hand on Hinata's shoulder and said to her, "Hinata-chan, thanks for the words of comfort but you don't need to worry, okay? I'll be fine. Besides I will keep in touch with you and your fellow comrades if things get a little messy. Itachi won't hurt me, I always see the guy as a brother, you know. Sasuke and I have been close and we became childhood friends. But we are still rivals." Hinata looked at him for a moment and smiled. She knew how much Sasuke had meant so much to him ever since his father, the former Hokage of Konoha, passed on leaving his son to take charge of his home. Despite pleas from the villagers trying to kill the innocent child, it was the Hokage's idea to arm him with a dangerous weapon that Naruto can use in his arsenal so that he can fight Orochimaru later on. The thought of Sasuke inside Naruto's mind made him even more angry, but deep down, Naruto has a heart and will never intend to harm his own childhood friend and brother because their bonds are strong. "Hinata, even though Sasuke may be smarter than me, stronger than me, and have more talent than I do, it doesn't mean I am some dead last shinobi of Konoha. I have a pledge to protect friends and share that bond of friendship with other people without letting anyone severing it. I promised Sasuke that I will one day beat him and become the next successor of wielding the Sharingan, even if it does cost me an eye or so, but I will surpass him, believe it," replied Naruto with his serious look on his eyes. Oh okay, Naruto, you are sort of, scaring me with what you said. Now, I don't want to burden you, and we don't want to put too much pressure on you, but you don't want to get me caught in this power you mentioned," replied Hinata with a look of despair in her eyes. Naruto's sweat dropped and then turned to Hinata and said, "Sorry about that, Hinata, you didn't really want to listen to all that gibberish, did you? I do apologize for that, and I understand how you feel at this point. But I really have to go now, it's getting late. I will talk with you tomorrow, Hinata. And also, tell your cousin Neji that I said hi." "Okay. Thanks." He then runs off into the distance to his home with Hinata waving goodbye to him. Meanwhile, back at the Uchiha compound, Sasuke was still training in the backyard with his target practice of using kunai knives, when he heard his brother calling for him. "Sasuke-ne-san, I wanted to ask you, how strong do you think Naruto is getting? Because ever since we trained him, he seems to be improving each minute. I think that he might surpass you one of these days," replied Itachi. "You think so, Itachi? Hey, I wouldn't be surprised if that loser brother of mine could pick fights in school, but still, he is dead last in the ninja academy, and if you think he can surpass me, I would have the pleasure of beating him in real-life combat," replied Sasuke with an evil grin on his face. "I wouldn't be surprised if you had the power to use the power of the Sharingan against him, but Naruto is not to be underestimated, all right? But that Kyuubi inside of him seems to be strong, and I want that power for myself. Naruto has the power to change the outlook on people's lives, why couldn't he do the same to you, Sasuke?" asked Itachi with an evil smile. "Naruto? Change the lookout on my life? Yeah, right? I don't think that dead last loser can change anyone's life. He doesn't know anything about me or my family, but I kind of do feel sorry for him that his father died in battle with the Kyuubi. However, he has to work hard if he wants to surpass me. He hasn't fully begun to develop his power of the Sharingan yet, but I am sure he will be able to fully cope with it as time goes on," replied Sasuke. "Anyway, tomorrow I got target practice, I better get some sleep, bro." And with that he left the training field of his compound, placed the ninja tools back in the bin, and went to his room. Itachi, on the other hand, seems to be scheming a plan to escape from the compound undetected as he goes to his room and turns on the computer in his room. He was then tuned to the Akatsuki hideout and said, "Good evening, fellow Akatsuki members. This is Uchiha Itachi speaking. May I see if Kisame is available?" Soon, the leader of the Akatsuki arrived and said, "Just a moment, Uchiha Itachi. He will be here shortly." As Itachi waited, he decided to pull up Naruto's battle profile and then studied up on his skills. While reading his profile, he thought to himself, "So you are putting on a great talent for yourself and honing your skills, Well then, I will have some surprises for you that would be to die for. You just wait, soon you will never see your beloved Fugaku or Tayaki ever again once I wipe out what's left of this pathetic clan. Then with the Akatsuki formation I will take away your Kyuubi powers away from you," said Itachi evilly with his Sharingan activated. The next morning, as Naruto got up and getting ready for his second day of training, he could already see Sasuke in front of him outside of his rooftop apartment. As Naruto approached the window, he was surprised as to how the raven-haired boy had emerged on his roof. "Ah? Sasuke, what are you doing on my roof? What's all this about?" Sasuke looked at him for a moment with a sweat drop and a disappointed look on his face and said, "What are you, an idiot? I came here to train with you. You could at least try to act like you were happy to see me." Naruto scratched his head nervously for a moment and said, "Ah ha ha, my bad. I thought you came here to have a one-on-one battle with me and pound the living daylights out of me for invading your home. But I guess it was all Itachi's crappy idea anyway. Well, let's get this training started, Sasuke," replied Naruto as he arms himself with the weapons he prepped for this morning. HMMPH, always a loudmouth and a knucklehead at times, and can be a troublemaker just like his old man, thought Sasuke with a smile lingering on his face. He then pulled out his weapon and began their training for the morning. The two of them then heads over to the training field to do some target practice and then practiced their hands-on combat. While they practiced, Naruto asked, "Hey Sasuke, what is up with your brother lately? I mean, he doesn't seem to be himself." Sasuke looked at him for a moment and said, "What do you mean, Naruto? My brother is perfectly fine. There is nothing wrong with him. Why are you asking about my brother?" "Well, to me, something fishy is going on with your brother and I have a suspicion that he might be up to something no good at home," or that he might endanger our entire family with his powers. We cannot allow this to happen, we must, began Naruto. Suddenly, Sasuke placed a hand on Naruto's shoulders and replied, Naruto, listen to me. There is nothing wrong with Itachi and my family will be fine, you don't have to be afraid of anything. As long as I am here, Itachi will never do anything to harm his own family, okay? After all, you are my best friend and you have been like a brother to me ever since. Look at me, Naruto. Am I the kind of person that would allow my own clan to be killed? No, of course not, so you have nothing to worry about. Now let's get back to training. He then ruffles the blonde's head as they resumed their training. During their training session, Naruto begins by sending a barrage of shurikens straight at Sasuke, but he dodged them easily without problems. Next, Naruto throws a wave of kunai knives straight at Sasuke while charging in for the attack by throwing a number of punches at Sasuke and some kicks. But Sasuke used a substitution technique and Naruto had hit a piece of wood, but he wasn't about to give up. He continued attacking Sasuke, but Sasuke continued using his defenses and soon it was his turn to use hand-to-hand combat against Naruto. During the fight, Sasuke called out to him. What's the matter, Naruto? Is that all you got? Come at me with full force, brother. They continued trading blows in the air. You want full force? You got it, I'll show you what I am really made of, Uchiha Sasuke. Replied Naruto as he leapt into the air and activated his Sharingan eye while performing the fireball technique that Fugaku taught him earlier. Soon the entire forest was filled with fire that came out of Naruto's mouth, but the raven-haired kid didn't seem to mind the attack that Naruto had laid out. Impressive, bro. I never knew you could pull off that attack that quickly, but you are no match for my skills. My attacks have a much wider range of firepower and it can incinerate an entire forest in a matter of minutes, including a dummy mannequin. How is that for a full force? Replied Sasuke as he smiled slyly. Naruto was surprised that Sasuke had far more firepower in his attacks, but still, it doesn't mean that Sasuke is better than him. However, Naruto still had a lot more to improve than just his combat skills. That doesn't matter, Sasuke. No matter how far you spread your attacks, my shadow clones will always do the job to block them. Now let's see what else you have in that bag of tricks, he asked. Sasuke continued his fireball technique at Naruto while the blonde continuously used his shadow clones to block Sasuke's attack. Afterwards, Sasuke's fireball technique had reached its limit and there was no point to continue. So, they decided to move on to the second stage of their training. Attacking in midair, which is also known as air-to-air combat. Naruto had never done any air-to-air combat before, but this is the first time that he would be doing this kind of technique with Sasuke. It would take a while for him to master it, but this would give him a chance to show what he's really got and how it will help him fight other opponents using mid-air combat. Okay, Naruto. Now that you have seen how the fireball technique is done, it's time that we moved on to a much more difficult technique. This time, we are going to fight in mid-air using hand-to-hand combat. This will also include using kicking attacks to send opponents to the ground. Are you ready? Asked Sasuke. Bring it on, Sasuke. I am ready for you this time, Naruto said as he wiped his sweat away from his forehead and began his next stage of training, the mid-air combat. After Naruto emerges from the Uchiha compound, he wonders if Itachi is really the brother that people thought he would be. But for Sasuke, his brother was anything but a genius. As Naruto walked down the streets of Konoha, he starts to think about what Itachi and his father had said to him and about the battle that he and Sasuke had fought. If he wants to wield the power of the Sharingan, he has to work hard and train hard to accomplish his goal. Itachi, what have you put me into? Why have you chosen me to wield the Sharingan? What are your true intentions? Naruto thought as he continued onwards to home, but suddenly he can feel the rush of leaves blowing towards him. He wondered who could be out here at this time of the night. As he takes out his kunai, he charged towards his attacker and begins to strike him, but the attacker said, "Wait. Stop, Naruto, don't attack me." Naruto was shocked but relieved to see Itachi standing behind him. Once he puts his kunai away, he said to him, "Itachi-san, what are you doing here at this time of the night? I thought you were going to do some training before going to bed. I was just checking up on you to see how you were doing. Anyway, did you really think I would come all the way out here to harm you? I would be captured by the Anbu guards anyway. Now what's on your mind, Naruto?" said Itachi. Naruto looked at him for a moment and said, "Well, Itachi-san, Are you sure you have chosen the right person to wield the Sharingan? I mean, I know it's a powerful technique, but I am not sure if I am the right person for the job. And since Sasuke has the same technique as you, what possible use could I have for it anyway? Itachi was befuddled at what Naruto had asked him, but decided to answer him anyway. Naruto, you know that the Sharingan is the pride of the Uchiha clan, right? No one else will know the secret of the technique except for me and my family. The reason why you were chosen was because you wanted me to use them for the purpose of killing people, isn't it? Interrupted Naruto. Itachi's sweat dropped at that remark from Naruto. That's not what I meant. Who said that you were going to use it for evil purposes? I merely said that the Sharingan will help you suppress the fox inside of you. That's why you were chosen to have this kind of power. The Hokage knows about the power of the fox inside of you, so with the Sharingan, it should be able to stop the powers of the Kyuubi flowing out of you. Do you understand now why I am telling you this? Naruto shook his head and thought that over, but still he didn't believe any of it. I don't believe you, Itachi, but I do understand why you are telling me all this. Still, will I get to keep the power of the Sharingan? Oh, you will, Naruto, but you must use it wisely, okay? The power of the Sharingan is not to be used for evil. You must learn to control its power as well. Anyway, I think it's time for you to get some sleep. You will need it for training in the morning. And I think I might have a special surprise for you if you can defeat Sasuke tomorrow in a match, said Itachi. I'll look forward to it. Besides, the Sharingan is nothing. If Sasuke can master it, so can I. The technique is not such a big deal. Besides, I probably won't have much trouble using it anyway. See you around, Itachi. And he disappeared in a puff of smoke. Itachi sighed and said to himself, that little brat has no idea just how strong my technique really is. I don't think he knows the danger that is in store for him. Once I take care of my family, I'll be sure to lure Sasuke into my trap and frame Naruto for it. Just you wait, Naruto. The power of the Kyuubi inside of you will be as good as mine. Once Naruto arrived home, he set his equipment and gear on the ground. He then slumped down on the couch and decided to read upon chakra techniques made easy, in order to find out how to improve his ninjutsu skills, since that is the area he needs to most work on. However, he couldn't sleep this early, so he decides to head out again to grab something to eat. As he heads towards the barbecue shop, he could notice that some Anbu guards were following him, but he pretended not to see them as he walked into the restaurant. Once inside, he sits down at a table while reading his book. Soon, Naruto can hear the voice of someone saying, "Man, this is so troublesome. I can't believe I have to be forced to come to this barbecue joint. Oh, come now, Shikaku. You know as well as I do that my son Choji likes to come here and eat barbecue. He is a vegetarian, I am telling you. He wants to grow big and have strong bones," said the second man. A vegetarian, you say? Meat isn't the only thing that increases strong bones, gentlemen, and I don't know what you are so worked up about, Shikaku. I think my son's strength can kick your son's lazy ass. I think my clan's pups know that as well. And besides, our sons will get more stronger as they continue their training if they stop messing around. Shikaku looked crestfallen as he shook his head. Women are so troublesome these days with the beatings, the whippings, and the harshness of their voice. Why did I get dragged into this? He thought to himself. Naruto knows those familiar voices from anywhere, so he decides not to interfere with their family business. But he wonders why they were here in the first place. Was it to follow Naruto and keeping track of his movements, or to ensure his safety from the Uchiha clan? As Naruto takes his leave, he starts to head home, but suddenly he can feel a stretch of shadows stopping his movement and the appearance of Inuzuka dogs around him. Going somewhere, Naruto? Asked the scar-faced shinobi. Naruto turns to see the face of Shikaku Nara with the Junin vest and ponytailed hair right next to him. Well, I was about to head home, but I didn't know you were here. So I decided to stop here for a little dinner, but I decided to head home since there is nothing good here and… Man, you are so troublesome. We wouldn't want you to go home on an empty stomach now, would we? Come with us then, said Shikaku as he releases his shadow from Naruto. Tsume couldn't help but chuckle at the sight of Naruto's face as she and Choza escorted him inside the restaurant. Once inside, they sat themselves down at a table. Now then, Naruto, what do you want to talk to us about? I hope you have nothing to hide from us, asked Choza. Well, it's about Itachi. And frankly, I think he is hiding something from his brother and his family. I don't know what Itachi is up to, but I do know that it won't be good. Sometimes, I think Fugaku-sama has gone mad or something for putting up for adoption in his family. Will you help me find out from the Hokage exactly what Itachi is planning? Asked Naruto. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I have no idea what Itachi is up to, but I heard from the Hokage that you were planning to have the power of the Sharingan, is that right? I always knew Fugaku-sama was a wretched fool for putting you in their family. What the hell was he thinking? You know, I strongly advise you to stay away from Itachi because if any harm comes to you, how would we explain this to the Hokage? Replied Sume ruefully. Yeah, she's right. Itachi already has made this situation even more troublesome than what it is now. We have to ensure your safety so that you don't get hurt. Also, were you being followed by him? If so, then I am afraid you were in more danger than we first thought. God forbid, be careful Naruto, Itachi may have set a trap for you. Take my word for it, as long as you are here, you will be safe with us. Replied Shikaku as he placed a comforting hand on Naruto's shoulder. Naruto takes the advice to heart and thinks it over. You know, I just wish that the Hokage would put me up for adoption with a better family so that I wouldn't be in any danger. But I will keep a close eye on him. If he tries anything funny or if he lays a hand on Sasuke, he began, but he was interrupted by Choza. He wouldn't do that, Naruto. We could send the request to the Hokage to have the Anbu keep an eye on him if you want. And besides, Itachi may be a cunning bastard, but he is a well-respected shinobi here and he wouldn't harm anyone. I know this because Sasuke always had a strong bond with Itachi, so try to relax, Naruto. You will be fine with Itachi as long as he doesn't start something dangerous, he said. Naruto thought that over for a bit before smiling. He knows that he has to be careful around people that he encounters because he might never know when danger lurks around. But he wasn't sure if he still has faith in Itachi due to the fact that he has some secrets being kept from people. However, Naruto feels that the more he distrusts Itachi, his life would be in danger. As he walks down the streets of Konoha after saying goodbye to the clan heads, he decides to head home while avoiding any distraction that comes his way. He didn't notice that Itachi was still around town and hiding behind buildings. Once Naruto was out of sight, Itachi thought to himself, foolish little Naruto, do you really think you will be protected that easily? I've already known what you said to the clan heads and not even they can protect you now. You are already falling deeper into my trap and now you will pay for it with your life. My bodyguards will personally see to it that you will never escape my grasp, just you wait. By the time Naruto reached to his house and settled in for the night, Itachi's bodyguards, who are well known in their clan tribe, decides now that it's time for them to start the next phase of their plan by capturing Naruto and bringing him to Itachi. With all of the necessary equipment in their hands, they set off to find the Kyuubi and hopefully put an end to his life. But they started to think if they harm him and kidnapping an innocent child like him would put their own lives in danger. So they decided to try another way to get Naruto to Itachi by luring Sakura into this trap. As Naruto was in bed, he starts to think about what he did during the training with Sasuke and about the basics of combat and defending himself. He plans to put all this to the test as he turns off the light, but no sooner than he did that, he heard a knocking at his door. Once he got up and opened it, he could see two shinobis with the leaf headbands and some combat equipment in their hands at his front step. He then approaches them and asked, "Is there something I can do for you gentlemen? It's getting really late and I do need a good night's rest," said Naruto sleepily. "Well, Sasuke's brother wishes to see you and he orders us to bring you to him, at the behest of Itachi himself. So be a good little boy and come with us," said the guard. Naruto wonders what Itachi wants with him this time. Why does Itachi wants to see me? Can't this wait until morning? I really need to go to bed, and tell Itachi that I will meet with him tomorrow morning," he said as he closed the door behind the guards and went back to bed. But no sooner than he did that the guards opened the door again and dragged Naruto out of the bed and said, "If you won't cooperate, then we will make sure that you don't come back alive, also Sakura wants to see you as well." Afterwards, they took Naruto outside and over to Sakura's house. Once there, the guards decided to hide behind the trees and wait for Naruto to take the bait. As Naruto knocks on the door, a girl with pink hair arrives and then opens it. "Oh, Naruto-kun, what brings you here? It's getting late here and I need some beauty rest. Now what can I help you with?" "Well, I was trying to get some sleep but then two men from the Uchiha clan kidnapped me and then brought me to your area to warn you of the danger that both of us are in right now. I don't know why they would want me to come here, but I am here to let you know about the danger that I am in right now. But it would be great if you could go warn the Hokage about this situation, Sakura-chan," said Naruto. Sakura looked at him for a moment and said, "Naruto-kun, you picked a bad time of the night to come to me for help. You should go home and get some rest because I will also need a lot of sleep as well since we both need to rest and be at our very best for tomorrow. And I probably shouldn't bother with the Hokage since he is busy with things right now, and I don't know if I am able to help you or anything," replied Sakura. Naruto looked a little crestfallen after knowing that Sakura cannot help him, but he said, "Sakura, you don't understand. These two men would kidnap me and would put me in all sorts of danger if I don't get to someplace safe. And those men are hiding behind those bushes ready to nab me, so please let me hide somewhere temporarily, Sakura-chan." Sakura looked at him for a moment and thinks this would be too risky of a move for her to make. She knows that Naruto cannot be left out alone this late at night. So she decides to escort him inside her house and hides him in the upstairs closet. Once Naruto was safely hidden, she then turns her attention to the guards outside. "If you are looking for the knucklehead, he isn't here. He might have gone out to train with Sasuke for a while. So try to find him elsewhere." The Uchiha bodyguards looked at Sakura for a while and found out that there was no point to continue searching for Naruto. So they disappeared in a puff of smoke and would have to endeavor looking for him elsewhere. Once the guards are out of sight, Sakura called out to Naruto, "You can come out now, Naruto-kun. The guards are gone now, so I think it's safe for you to go home now." Relieved, Naruto came out of the closet, took a deep breath for a moment and thanked Sakura for the protection. Once he emerged from her home, he heads back to his apartment to get a good night's sleep, hoping to avoid being captured again. He does not want himself to become a target of destruction. As Naruto dozed off to sleep, he was worried that those guards might try to strike again and tries to avoid thinking about it. The next morning, Naruto wakes up and gets dressed as usual while dashing towards the Hokage's office. As he knocks on the door of the office, he heard the word of, "Come in," sounds from the room. As Naruto entered, he walked towards the Hokage's deck and asked, "Ji-san, last night I was nearly kidnapped by two guards from the Uchiha compound and I do not have any idea why. Do you know why they are coming after me? I mean, these people need to stop coming after me. I have no interest in them, okay? I understand, Naruto-san, but you must know, this village has its problems that even I cannot deal with myself. I've been getting headaches from these people as well, and I know what you are going through. Honestly, they need to chill out and relax. It's not like the world is coming to an end," replied the Hokage. "I know that, Ji-sama, but if I get any more death threats from these people, I don't know what I can do now. I've already had a talk with a few of the clan heads, and now even Itachi-san is starting to turn against me as well. You know, like I told you before, I wish I was put with a different family, someone who understands me a lot better and all. Gosh, sometimes I feel like I've been followed and stalked by people everywhere I go," said Naruto. "That's what people want you to think, Naruto-san. They just don't see the normal kid in you. I really do wish that you would have someone to guard you and protect you, but it seems that no one wants the offer. But you don't have to worry, Naruto, I am sure you will be fine, but I don't know if I am able to help you with anything at this moment. I am pretty busy myself, so if there is anything you need, don't hesitate to ask me, okay?" finished the Hokage. "All right, then, thanks Ji-sama," said Naruto as he walked out of the office, hoping he wouldn't have any problems. But as he walked down the street, Kakashi arrives and asks the Hokage, "Will Naruto be okay out there all by himself? I feel that he might not be fully protected out there. I think it's best if I keep a close eye on him to make sure he doesn't get captured. This village already has enough problems as it is, and besides I know Naruto as well as some of the people here. I could probably help him with his defense skills later on," replied Kakashi. "Are you sure about that, Kakashi? Because I know that not a single one of the young shinobis have ever practiced defending themselves before, but if you want to help him, then I cannot simply refuse the offer, and I don't think Naruto will refuse it either. I still doubt that Naruto can take care of himself in the end. It's just a shame that this whole village has to plague Naruto with all the pain and torture, and I think Iruka feels the same way when he was younger, but I think Naruto has support from the clan heads as well, including me. Hypothetically, if Naruto does get put up with a better family, they could probably rival against the Uchiha clan," said the Hokage. Even Kakashi agrees with the plan as well when he heads out to meet with Naruto. As Naruto continues down the street while thinking about what the Hokage had said to him, he didn't notice that two guards were on the rooftops of a house in Konoha as he continues down on his merry way, but as he was about to arrive at his apartment, he spots the guards in front of him. Naruto now knows that these are the same people that tried to capture him last night. Okay, what do you guys want with me this time? I told you. I am not going to Itachi's place. Now I would ask you nicely to please step aside, said Naruto. Sorry kid, no can do. We are taking you to Itachi's place whether you like it or not. Now are you going to come quietly or are we going to do this the hard way? Asked one of the guards. Still, Naruto did not give them an answer as he tries to walk towards his house, but before he could enter, one of the guards grabs him, while the other one ties a rope on his body and his hands before carrying him away towards the Uchiha compound. As Kakashi looked up from a tree, he starts to think that Itachi was definitely up to something with Naruto being kidnapped. Naruto, don't worry, I will get you out of this mess one way or another, but try to hang on for as long as you can. I will try to get reinforcements to eliminate the guards. Thought Kakashi as he heads towards the Hokage's office. What do you creeps want with me anyway? Can you please untie me and let me go already? Protested Naruto as he tries to set himself free from the ropes entangled around him, but the guards looked at him for a second and said, Sorry Naruto, but there is no way you can be set free this time. If you think we are going to let you escape, Itachi will have our heads knee-deep in crap. Soon, Itachi will take you to his place where he will need to have a few words with you face to face. So enjoy your time at the Uchiha compound because you will never escape the danger that awaits you. Hehehehe. Said the guards as they tossed Naruto down on the wooden floor near the Uchiha compound and closed the door behind them. Naruto was getting a little uncomfortable in where he was being tossed at because of the numbness that he is feeling throughout his entire body after being tied up and thrown into an unknown location. He then gets up and turns the light on and thought, where am I? What the hell is this place? He then notices a sign on the back of the door and sees it as the Compound of Death. At that moment, Naruto was shocked to see such a name written on the door like this, but he has to remain calm if he wants to get out of there alive. Later that day, Itachi arrives and sees Naruto inside the compound. Once he opens the door, he takes Naruto into his house and closes the door. Once inside, Naruto asked Itachi, what is the meaning of this? Itachi-ne-san. Why have you captured me and brought me here? I demand an explanation, protested Naruto angrily. Itachi looked at him for a moment and said, Naruto, the reason why I wanted you here was to ask you why you were training with my brother. You know that he is forbidden to walk outside because he is not an outsider like you. What you have done is a violation of the Uchiha clan law, and that would brand you as a traitor to Konoha. I warned you to stay away from my brother, but you didn't listen to me, said Itachi. Come on Itachi, what's wrong with training with Sasuke anyway? I mean I don't see him as a problem, and he didn't seem to mind me around him. He is my friend. I urge you not to get your brother involved, and for the love of God, please do not get me involved in your family business. If Sasuke knows what you are doing, he will never forgive you for this, warned Naruto. Yeah, dream on, Kyuubi scum. You are already in danger and you are not going to escape from me this time. But this is okay, as long as you are here with me. I can have all the time in the world to make you suffer a horrible pain. Your fate is now sealed, my friend. You are not to leave this compound until I finish off what my guards cannot do. Also when I captured you this time, it was Sasuke's idea. So if you want to blame someone, do it on him. At that moment, Naruto looked up and said, no way, Itachi-ne-san. I will not sell out my own best friend and I will not implicate him in this stunt you are pulling. I order you to let me go. Now. Sorry, orders are orders, and I will not allow Sasuke to become involved in this conflict. Also, he will not be helping you out this time and no one can save you. However, before you see Sasuke, I will let you see my own family. Let's go Naruto, said Itachi as he picks up Naruto from the floor and took him into the living room. Once there, he was shocked to see Fugaku and Tayaki Uchiha on the floor. The furniture was all moved out of the way so that Itachi could put an end to his family for good to ensure that Naruto has no protection from anyone in Konoha. Also Itachi refuses to let anyone else in the village to help the bow because it was their idea of wanting him dead and Itachi was the perfect candidate for the job. Fugaku-san, Tayaki-san, why did it have to be you guys to get involved? Why? What did you do to deserve this? Protested Naruto. He then turned towards Itachi, who had an evil smile on his face and shouted, "Itachi-ne-san, I demand that you release your own family right this instant. This is between you and me, so leave them alone. Your parents did nothing wrong to deserve such harsh treatment, and I for one will not allow you to carry out this madness. Why should I let my family go? How come it's always you that gets all the attention around? If you think they are innocent, well, what about me? Do you not consider me important to you? Why didn't you consider me to be a family to you? You always think of Sasuke as your best friend and ally, but not everyone else. You are selfish and always think about yourself without thinking of people around you. You may think that you are not involved in this, but you are too late to do anything about it. Now just keep your mouth shut as you watch my beloved family's blood spill on your hands," said Itachi as he raises his sword to take the killing blow, but Naruto jumps up and strikes a kunai knife directly on Itachi's sword before it could strike. Itachi was amazed that he was able to release himself and make a quick attack, but even his own speed was no match for Itachi. "Nice try, Naruto, but you are still not going to be able to stop me. Now release your weapon from my sword or I will have to use force to put you down," said Itachi with a warning tone. "Try and make me, you traitor of Konoha," shouted Naruto as he continues to deal blows to Itachi's body while knocking the sword out of his hands. He then gives a quick punch to Itachi's gut area and knocks him against the wall, but Itachi decides to fight back as his guard starts to beat up Naruto while he takes care of his family before Sasuke's return. Once they took Naruto to the back room, they started beating him and kicking him around like a stray dog. Itachi then headed outside to start his attack on the family. He started attacking most of the Uchiha clan that were close to him, including the maid of the house and two of Fugaku's next-door neighbors, who were both husbands and wives. They were also once good friends of Fugaku and Taiyaki as well. As Itachi continued his killing rampage, the guards stopped beating on Naruto and went outside to check and make sure that Itachi finishes his mission by wiping out his mother and father. "I will do that, but I need to do something with Naruto first," said Itachi as he enters the house and into the back room where Naruto was. He then sets him down on the ground and starts to activate his technique. "Wait, Itachi, what the hell are you doing? Stop, no. Stop, get away from me right this instant. No." But no matter how hard Naruto struggled to get away from Itachi, it was pointless for him to escape from the technique. "Ninja art, Genjutsu, Tsukuyomi," rambled Itachi as the technique starts to affect Naruto's mind. Soon, the entire room is shrouded in darkness as Naruto wonders where the hell he is and where everyone went to. Then he sees Itachi right in front of him with his family facing him. Just as Itachi was about to kill them, Fugaku immediately dispelled the genjutsu, forcing Itachi to drop the sword again. "Naruto-san, come here for a minute, I need to give you something before I go. I know you will miss me, but I have no other choice. And also, tell Sasuke that he has learned all he can from me. So now, Naruto, you need to use this power only for good, and not evil, okay? Just think of me whenever you use this technique, it's the least I can do for you," replied Fugaku as he placed a hand on Naruto's head and making hand signs. "Ninja art, ninjutsu, Sharingan," boasted Fugaku as the electromagnetic waves were sent into Naruto's brain. His eyes starts to turn red as the Sharingan power is infused into his head as well. Once finished, Naruto's eyes started to turn back normal again. Itachi looked at them for a moment and was shocked as to what just happened, but nevertheless, he transforms the room into darkness as he releases his genjutsu once again. This time, Naruto had no means of escape from the power of Tsukuyomi as he is tied down with a rope around his body. Itachi then grabs his head and inflicted more of the genjutsu power into him, and dealing a large amount of blows to him before he is finally left unable to move. Once Itachi was finished with Naruto, he started to pick up his sword and prepares to deal a death blow to them. This time, Naruto has no chance to save them now as he is left helpless to watch Fugaku and Taiyaki die at the hands of Itachi. He also knows that Itachi had been using him as a pawn in order to get to his brother Sasuke. Thinking carefully, he moves towards a table and then picks up the telephone. He started to call the Hokage's office and said, "Ji-sama, I am in terrible danger. Itachi has kidnapped me and now he is prepared to murder his entire family at his own accord. He also used me as a pawn in order to trap me here to get to Sasuke as well so that he can claim the power inside of my body. Please send anyone that is available to save me. Also please warn Sasuke that he is in danger as well. Thank you. Naruto. Is that you? What the hell is going on over there? And what is with all the screaming on the line? Wait a minute, are you telling me that you are trapped by Itachi Uchiha and now he is trying to kill his parents? I knew it. I had a feeling that Itachi was up to no good. All right. Hang in there just a little bit longer, help is on the way, okay? Said the Hokage on the phone. Once Naruto thanked the old man and hangs up the phone, he starts to feel a lot of physical and mental pain as death slowly comes to him. Just then Kakashi arrives at the compound where the guards are outside. As they spotted him, they asked, "What are you doing here? Itachi has strict orders about not to let intruders through here. Now step aside or else." "Or else what, you low-life scums? I demand to know where Naruto is. If he is in there with Itachi, I promise you, death will become you," warned Kakashi as he takes his fighting stance. As the guards moved in for the attack, Kakashi was too fast for them and with some quick movements and maneuvers, he subdued both of the guards and knocks them out cold. Afterwards, he enters the compound to find Naruto, but as he enters the compound, he also finds Fugaku and Teikai tied down to the floor. He then leaves the compound for a bit and then decides to call for reinforcements to secure the compound and free Naruto from Itachi. "Hang in there, Naruto. Just hold of Itachi for a bit longer, I will be back for you soon." "Where are you going? Kakashi-sensei. You cannot leave me here alone with the traitor of Konoha. Please save me," shouted Naruto as he struggles to get free. But will Kakashi be back in time to save Naruto and stop Itachi, or will it be too late to save him? Welcome back to another episode of Naruto. Tonight, this episode will feature the murders of the entire Uchiha family and the disappearance of one of the most formidable opponents and a protege of the Uchiha clan. Also, we are going to find out if Sasuke is really being implicated in the murders or just another scapegoat in Konoha. Now on with the show. Naruto could take no more of the pain and suffering after being dragged into the Uchiha compound for unspecified reasons and being beaten into a bloody pulp. He was also being heavily affected by the Tsukuyomi, a devastating genjutsu that can put its opponents into a deep coma and erasing their memories of their loved ones. As Itachi continued his bloody rampage, Naruto tries to get up, but he was in too much pain to move, especially when under the effect of a powerful genjutsu. "Itachi-ne-san, what have you gotten yourself into? You cannot kill family that you love so much? What have they ever done to you to make you act like this? Seriously, all I wanted was just a family that would love me and support me no matter what happens, but what have you ever done for me? Nothing. All you think about is killing and sparing no one in your charge, how sad. I thought you were my loving brother, but I don't know who the monster in front of me really is, but you are not the Itachi I knew," thought Naruto as he tries to move slowly around, but his chances of survival is looking slim. As his physical self starts to deteriorate, he could feel the world start to turn black around him as he lies down. He didn't notice the pool of blood around him belonging to Mr. and Mrs. Uchiha. Once Itachi finished the murders down on the streets of the Uchiha compound, he went back inside to finish off his parents before the Anbu comes. Naruto decides to create a couple of clones to act as a distraction to protect Taiyaki and Fugaku and some more to find Sasuke and bring him back to his home. Once Itachi returned, he now has to deal with the clones of Naruto. As he starts dispelling a couple of his clones, more of them start to appear, but Itachi was already getting really tired of Naruto's tricks. Thinking quickly, he used his own clones and dispelled more of Naruto's clones. Afterwards, he proceeds to move in for the kill, but the real Naruto steps up and tries to protect the people that he loves because he will not allow Fugaku and his wife to die in vain. Itachi quickly attacks Naruto, causing him to be in more pain. He then plunges his sword right into Naruto's abdomen, causing more blood to spill to the ground. "Itachi Uchiha, you damn traitor. You will not get away with this." He then sinks to the ground before Itachi pulls the blade out of his body. He then kicks Naruto hard in the stomach before swinging his sword again and thwack, slash. More blood started splattering all over the house as Fugaku and his wife took the blow from Itachi's sword and dies in an instant afterwards. Finally, Itachi turns his attention towards Naruto, but then his power starts to fade as he drops his sword. Realizing what he has done, Itachi remembered that Naruto was a kind-hearted person who would never hurt anyone in his life, but since he erased all those memories from the boy, he still wants Naruto to fight him. He then walks over to Naruto and said to him, "Foolish little stepbrother, you don't have sufficient strength to stop me. If you want to surpass me, you will have to get yourself stronger. I see that the power inside of you is starting to grow weaker, but it will be as good as mine once I take it away from you. So until then, enjoy your slow and painful death because I will be back for you." Once he finished his sentence, he disappeared in an instant before standing on top of a pole watching the night sky and waiting for his other brother to come home. Meanwhile, in the streets of the compound, Sasuke arrives to find the entire place covered in blood. He knows that something was not right the moment he exited the academy. As he continues to follow the blood trail to his house, he heads inside his home and to the living room. Once he opened the door, he was shocked to find his mother dead and his father barely conscious. He then walked towards him and asked, "What the hell happened? Who did this to you? Tell me." Fugaku looked at Naruto for a moment, but he could barely stay awake. It was Uchiha Itachi. He also badly injured Naruto as well. You should tend to him. No, you have to be kidding me. My brother promised that he would never harm you guys, he would never, began Sasuke, but tears already streamed down his eyes as he tries to wake his father, but to no avail. Don't leave me too, San. I will never forget you, please, you have to stay with me. Sorry, my son, but you must carry on in this world without me. Naruto is the only person that can take care of you now. Goodbye, we will miss you, but try to think of us and all the training you have learned so far. And please do try to be careful, and take good care of Naruto. With that, he closes his eyes and slowly dies with a smile on his face. No matter how hard Sasuke cried, he must stay strong if he wants to fight Itachi. Soon, his tears turned to anger. Itachi-ne-san, you will never get away with this. You will be punished. I will never let you get away with what you did to my family, because from now on, I will be the one to defeat you and I will restore my clan. And you will not get your hands on Naruto either. Because as of now, Naruto has been like family to me, and I will not allow you to hurt him. This time, it is you who shall suffer death in my hands. Just wait, Itachi. I will surpass you one way or another. Also, you will know the hard way of what it's like to lose a brother. As Sasuke went over to the back room, he sees Naruto on the floor, unconscious. He could also see the blood spatter from his body dripping on the floor. It was most likely due to the stab wounds that he got from Itachi earlier. Sasuke picks Naruto up and held him with his arms while saying, "Naruto? Naruto, can you hear me? Please wake up. Everything will be okay. Buddy. I am here now, just hang on. Help is on the way." He then went outside and sees Konoha shinobi and the Anbu guards arriving on the scene. Kakashi and his ninja hounds also arrived since they picked up the stench of blood and human flesh in and outside of the compound after the other shinobi and the Anbu guards already arrived on the scene. But as he enters Sasuke's residence, he finds the bodies of Fugaku and Tayaki Uchiha dead. Oh no, I hope I am not too late. Itachi has already soiled the Uchiha pride and punished his own clan. This will be a stain for Konoha and could jeopardize our alliance with other villages. He thought to himself. Soon, the dogs sensed something in the next room, where they discover blood and footprints on the floor. As Kakashi picked up the scene, he discovers Naruto on the floor, unconscious and bleeding out. No, Naruto. This is not possible. How could you go through something like this? You know you do not deserve this, but hang in there, buddy. I'll get you out of this mess one way or another, and I will not allow these tarnished memories to haunt you. Even though the Uchiha clan has been slaughtered, I can imagine that you are grieving right now, but mark my words, one day Itachi will pay for ruining your life. I should have known that deceptive bastard cannot be trusted from the first day I met him. Don't worry, Naruto. Everything will be okay. Let's get your wounds cleaned up after I get you out of this place," said Kakashi as he picks up Naruto from the floor while cutting away at the ropes entangling his body. Once Naruto was set free, Kakashi then carried him out of the compound, with Sasuke following close behind. Once outside, Kakashi could see the medical team assembled outside and he knew that they were sent by the Anbu guards. What happened in there, Kakashi-san? We would have thought that the compound would be peaceful and quiet, and now, began the medical team. What is the status of Naruto's condition? And now, the place has become a slaughterhouse, and if you go in there, you would see decapitated bodies and human flesh all over the floor. I saw them with my own eyes, and I nearly puked with what happened. Tayaki and Fugaku Uchiha are already dead before I found Naruto-kun. Also, outside of the compound you will find other dead bodies as well, and some of them may also be part of the Uchiha clan. As for Naruto's condition, it's not looking too good. He has a lot of broken bones in his body and he has some stab wounds, including being psychologically tortured, replied Kakashi sadly. The medical team looked at each other for a moment and was reluctant about going inside, but they did so with the Anbu guards. Once the guards marked the place as a crime scene, the medical team examined the bodies and found that they were alive before they lost consciousness. Thinking quickly, they prepped black bags ready to take the bodies to the morgue. Soon, the photos of the crime scene are taken to ensure that the culprit can be caught. Once the bodies have been taken out of the compound, the Anbu immediately closed the place down for a full cleanup before allowing Sasuke back home again. Later, back in the Hokage's office, the old man was sitting at his desk waiting for news of his adoptive grandson, but so far, nothing was sent to him. This is disappointing. What has happened to you, Naruto? I hope everything will be okay, he thought to himself. Just then, Iruka entered the Hokage's office and asked him, is Naruto all right? I've been looking for him everywhere and I just cannot find him. Oh, I do hope something didn't happen to our beloved child. The Hokage looked at him and could sense that Iruka was panicking, so he walked towards him and said, I am sure Naruto will be fine, after all he still has the will and strength to fight. Don't worry about Naruto too much, okay? But the more Iruka thinks about it, the more he feels unsure about Naruto's condition. As the scarred Chunin walks out of the office, he heads outside and thought to himself, what if Naruto really is in danger? I know he has the strength to fight, but with him gone for such a long time, I don't know if I am able to save him or not. Moments later, Iruka could see Hitaki Kakashi, the silver-haired Junin along with the medical staff rushing towards him. At that moment he knew that something was not right as they arrived. As Kakashi continued towards the village, he sees a scarred Chunin in front of him, Iruka-sensei. Oh, thank goodness I found you here. I found Naruto at Sasuke's home, but I have some terrible news to tell you. Meet me in the hospital as soon as you can, he said as he rushed towards the hospital with the medical staff following them. As Iruka followed them, he could notice that the medical ninjas are carrying black bags with them, but he does not know what is inside them. Once Kakashi and the medical personnel arrived at the hospital, he handed Naruto over to the medical team where they wheeled him into the treatment room and started tending to his injuries. Kakashi-sensei, I got here as soon as I could and I heard what happened. He then sees an unconscious Naruto on Kakashi's back. Oh. Naruto. What happened to him? Is he going to be okay? And what was inside those black bags? Asked Iruka. Well, moments ago, Naruto here was kidnapped by Itachi and taken hostage at his compound after he set a trap for him at Sakura's house. Once Itachi took Naruto, he attacked him in the back room of his compound and beated him to a pulp. I fear that Naruto was almost losing consciousness when he tried to fight back and preventing Itachi from committing mass murder, but it was already too late. Itachi had killed his parents and wiped out the entire clan. Once I got there, Itachi was already gone and began Kakashi. But before he could say another word, he could see Iruka placing his hands on Kakashi's shoulder. You mean to tell me that Naruto got badly hurt by Itachi and was kidnapped by him? You cannot be serious. Itachi-san promised he would never hurt that kid. Why didn't you tell me this earlier, Kakashi-san? Why? The sound of his voice had changed to anger as he struggles to hold back his tears. Kakashi looked at him for a moment and continued, when I found Naruto on the floor, I tried to feel for a pulse, but soon I noticed that Itachi placed his hand on his forehead and used Tsukuyomi. This sort of technique causes mental problems for shinobi and will put them out of action for long periods of time. This technique will not be reversible. I knew something was definitely not right with Itachi when he took Naruto under his wing. He wasn't really trying to teach Naruto anything, instead he showed him a vision of his friends being killed by other villagers and used him as bait to get to Sasuke. Naruto did the best he could to hold Itachi off, but he was knocked out cold before he could stop Itachi. So in other words, Itachi never treated him like a brother, but instead, he used him for his own selfish gains. Finished Kakashi. At that moment, Iruka just sank to the ground in disbelief. He was devastated that Naruto had gone through this sort of fiasco without any backup. He then banged his fists on the wall, feeling sorry for himself that he could not save him, and he knew that Naruto would not make it. However, Kakashi lifts Iruka off from the floor and sat him down on the benches next to the treatment room and said, "Iruka, everything will be fine, but you must calm down. I am sure Naruto-kun will pull through this, but give it time, okay? The medical shinobi are doing all they can to heal him of his injuries. I can tell that his wounds are very serious, but it won't put his life in danger, so don't worry. Naruto will pull through this, and it's our job to believe in him, and we will do what we can to take the danger away from him." Iruka looked at Kakashi with a smile on his face and was relieved, but they were still uncertain about Naruto's condition. 3 hours later, the medical staff walks out from the treatment room and sees Kakashi and Iruka outside. Iruka walks up to him and asked, "What is the status of Naruto's condition? Will he recover from his injuries?" The medical ninja looked at the scarred Chunin for a moment and said, "Well, despite him suffering broken bones, broken ribs, stab wounds and other lacerations, he was lucky to have survived. But his head, however, is a different story. The Tsukuyomi has completely caused mental trauma in Naruto's head. In other words, Naruto has been physically and psychologically tortured on the inside and outside. So we do not know when he would make a full recovery. However, I should thank you guys for bringing him here so soon. If we waited any longer, he might not have survived. Naruto is stable for now since we healed most of the lacerations on his body." Iruka breathed a sigh of relief that Naruto has survived this, but when he heard about what the Tsukuyomi had done to him, he felt a bit upset that Itachi would do something like this to him. But he was not about to let Naruto suffer pain and torture as he enters the recovery room where Naruto has been sent. He then sat down next to him and decided to observe him for a while. "Naruto, please wake up soon. I know you can hear me. What did you do to deserve this? I never would have imagined that Itachi would be this brutal and hostile over you, but you have to know that we are all here to protect you and we won't let anything happen to you," he thought to himself. But Naruto didn't notice that Iruka's tears were dropping onto his head as he slept. From that day, Naruto's life would be changed forever. Meanwhile, back in the Hokage's office, the Hokage looks out at the window and begins to ponder about Naruto's well-being. Just then, one of the guards arrives at his office and said, "Hokage-sama, Kakashi-san is here to see you. He says it's urgent." "I see, bring Kakashi in here immediately," ordered the Hokage. The guard did as he was told and summoned the silver-haired Junin into the office. As he arrived, the Hokage asked him, "Where is Itachi-san? I thought he was supposed to be training him about the use of the Sharingan, and is Naruto all right?" "Well, not really. I am here to bring you the bad news. Itachi didn't really teach him about the use of the Sharingan, and he was only using him to get the power that he desires. He traps Naruto at his own house after kidnapping him from his apartment. As soon as I heard that Naruto was kidnapped, I immediately went over to Sasuke's home and I found dead bodies lying everywhere, especially on the streets as well. Itachi had beaten Naruto to a bloody pulp and murdered his family with the use of his Mangekyo Sharingan. He then escaped from Konoha after the massacre. Naruto is currently in the hospital with serious injuries at the moment. The doctors are not sure when he would make a full recovery, but there is something else. Naruto has severe mental trauma due to the Tsukuyomi technique affecting him, and this had rendered him unable to fight enemies for a while," said Kakashi while sending him the reports from the medical staff and the Anbu guards regarding the murders and Naruto's condition. As the Hokage looked at the reports, he stood up from his chair and sighed. He now knows the state that Naruto is in and said, "This is unbelievable. Itachi was one of our brightest shinobi in Konoha and now he turns against us by murdering his own family right in front of our eyes. Thank you for the report, Kakashi-san. I better begin the emergency meeting right away with the other clans of Konoha. They need to know about everything that has happened here," he said. But before the Hokage could start the meeting, he could see that his answering machine has one new message. As he played the message, he could hear a distorted voice that says to him that someone was in danger. As he heard screams from the phone, he then listens carefully as the machine said, "I am in terrible danger, Ji-sama. Itachi-san has kidnapped me and now he is trying to murder his own family at his own accord. Itachi wasn't really thinking of me as family, he was using me as a pawn to trap me here to get to Sasuke and pinning the murder on him. Not to mention, Itachi is trying to claim the power inside of my body. Please send anyone that is available to save me, And please warn Sasuke that he is in danger as well. Thank you. Once the Hokage hits the stop button on his machine, anger and hatred came to his head as he throws the phone out the window. Once he went outside, he rubs his face gently to relieve the stress for a bit, and then heads back into his office and rings the bell. Soon, 2 special Junins arrived and said, "You called us, Hokage-sama?" "Yes, Genma-san, Aoba-san. I want you to summon up all the clan heads and I want them in my office immediately so they will know about Naruto's condition and Itachi's betrayal. We will need to discuss a plan on how to keep Naruto safe from further attacks and danger. Once this meeting concludes, we will figure out a way to bring Itachi back so that he can answer for his crimes so that we can prevent our village from going to war. Also, can you bring Uchiha Sasuke here as he needs to attend this meeting as well?" ordered the Hokage. "Hi, Hokage-sama. We will send word to the clan heads and to Sasuke immediately. They will be here soon," replied the guards as they disappeared from the office and out into the streets of Konoha. Soon, news about the Uchiha clan massacre had spread out among the Konoha village. The villagers were indeed stunned at what happened and they demanded to know what made a protege of Konoha into a stone-cold killer. They never knew Naruto got involved in this mess when Itachi took him in. Despite the monster inside of Naruto, they know that he is still a sweet child on the outside, but they still hate him for what happened years ago. Now, with the entire Uchiha clan murdered, they now turned their hate towards Itachi. "Why would Itachi want to harm his own family and disappear like that?" said one villager. "I never knew that Itachi would go this low as to commit a heinous crime to put this village in jeopardy, but nonetheless, he has to be brought back, arrested, and sentenced for his crimes. We cannot allow a killer to escape justice," said another villager. The entire village was stunned as to how someone could have attacked Konoha at this time of the night. Meanwhile, at the Nara household, Shikaku was about to get some training done after his dinner when he heard a knock at the door. As he opens it, he could see 2 Junins outside. "Is there something I can help you with, gentlemen?" he asked. "Hokage-sama has requested your immediate presence in his office regarding Itachi Uchiha. This has been the darkest hour for all of Konoha as Sasuke's brother has committed murder and has escaped. Also the Hokage wants to tell you about Naruto's current condition since he got involved as well," replied Genma. "What? You are kidding me, right? Oh dear, what has Itachi gotten himself into this time? What about Naruto, is he going to be okay? This is so troublesome. But tell the old man I will be there in about 10 minutes, replied Shikaku. The guards took note of that and heads off to alert other families. Once the guards are gone, Shikaku closes the door behind him and puts his clothes on before heading out. "Hey Dad, where are you going at this time of the night? What did those guards want?" asked Shikamaru. "Hokage-sama needs me and the rest of the clan heads in his office. Something terrible has happened to Naruto and I cannot wait any longer. I'll be back soon," he said as he dashes outside onto the streets of Konoha and heads towards the tower. He knows that Naruto had been taking his advice when he was warned about Itachi's true motives. But he never knew why Itachi took matters into his own hands or why he turned into a killer in his own village. But one thing is certain, he will not allow Itachi to target innocent civilians in Konoha. Next the guards went over to Kiba's house and told Sume and Hana Inuzuka the exact same thing about Itachi's disappearance and Naruto's current condition. This time, she was feeling concerned about what happened to the child and the danger he went through, but she was not going to forgive Itachi for what he did to Naruto and for murdering his own family. She immediately stepped out of her house and heads over to the Hokage's office. As the word gets out to the village of Konoha, everyone started to wonder how Itachi could have masterminded this whole massacre all by himself. Meanwhile, in the underground hallways of the Uchiha compound, Sasuke was arming himself and doing some last-minute training. As he came out he could see the two Jonin outside. "You wanted to see me, right? I assume this is about Naruto and my brother, the Konoha killer? Tell the Hokage that I will be there in 5 minutes, and moreover, I want to know Naruto's condition as well. If Itachi is trying to pin this murder on me, I am afraid that it's not going to work on me. Since he harmed my family and my closest friend, I will not tolerate this. I, Sasuke Uchiha, will show my former brother that I am more superior than he is," he boasted as he walks out of his underground training hall and headed over to the tower with the guards. Back in the Hokage's office,
Tensions were mounting high as all the clan heads were getting ready for the emergency meeting about Itachi and the crimes he committed. Many of the council members could be seen shaking their heads in despair, including Hyuga Hiyashi, the head of Hyuga clan. He was not surprised with what the protege did to his own family. However, he was frustrated and upset that Itachi got Naruto involved in this mess, and furthermore he demanded to know how the Tsukuyomi can be this strong when it's used against shinobis. Also, extra precautions were taken as Neji and Hinata were being sent to the hospital to keep an eye on the child so that he won't get hurt. Within moments after everyone gathered in the office, Sasuke arrived as well and took a seat next to one of the clan heads because he knows that the Hokage wanted him to speak out against his brother's criminal actions for what he did, but the thought of that just upsets him even more. So he decides to do it anyway because he wanted to tell how his brother turned from a most kind-hearted person into a cold-blooded killer. This was not the Itachi Uchiha that Naruto or Sasuke had knew anymore, and not even the whole village will forgive Itachi for his actions he committed against Konoha. Everyone has been pressured by what has happened here and would do whatever they can to punish those responsible, but with Naruto's life hanging in the balance, finding Itachi would prove impossible because his whereabouts are unknown now. As the Hokage stood up from his chair, he said to everyone, "Now that everyone is here, we can get this meeting underway. As you may all know, Uchiha Itachi, the protege of Konoha and once a brother to Sasuke, has disappeared after he took the lives of his entire family and shamed his own clan tonight. He also got Naruto involved in this mess after I sent him to be adopted by the man, but my guess is that he was only using Naruto to take the power inside his body. The Kyuubi. However, my most pressing concern is the Tsukuyomi. It was unleashed upon Naruto, causing him to have severe mental trauma. I am not sure if any of you have told him this, but I have come to a decision that Naruto will be put out of commission until we find another medical ninja to reverse the effects of that technique." Everyone looked at the Hokage with shocked looks about what he said. "Are you serious about that, Hokage-sama? You sent the beloved son of the fourth Hokage to be adopted by a traitor of Konoha and now you are saying he is out of commission? This is an outrage. Naruto-san is our best shinobi in Konoha. If he is out of commission, how will he save the village from the forces of evil? We cannot do a replacement ninja now," shouted Inoichi. He feared the worst has happened to the most beloved child of the fourth Hokage who was nearly given a death sentence by one of their own. "There is no need for panic, Inoichi-san. I am sure there is a perfectly logical explanation for all of this. After all, I met up with him at a nearby restaurant not far from the streets of Konoha just a few days ago. He told me that if Itachi ever laid a hand on Sasuke he will stop him. But when I heard what happened, Itachi got to him first. I almost feared the worst could happen to him as well. But you were right, Naruto is our best shot to save Konoha from danger. Without him, this village will be nothing but tarnished memories of what it once was." I almost felt bad when the medical ninja told me the extent of Naruto's injuries. My own son, Choji, would never forgive those who betray a friendship and killing those you love, replied Choza as he stood up. "You are not the only one that is disturbed by this unspeakable tragedy, my old friend. My own brother would hunt down those responsible if they came to our house and killed our dogs. Besides myself, I can't even do a reversal technique to undo the damage done on Naruto. But I never knew why Itachi would suddenly get away with killing his entire family and leaving a child for dead. Honestly, my mom told me that she would tear the scoundrel to pieces if he comes back again to threaten the village," replied Hana while clenching her fists as she sees her mother nodding her head about sending Itachi to his doom. Finally Shikaku himself stood up and said, "This is so troublesome, even though my advice still stands, but I cannot allow our beloved child of the fourth Hokage to die at the hands of a monster. What happened here today was a cowardly attack by an enemy within our village. There are some pretty violent people around here and, gosh, I don't even know why I am saying this, but I really hope Naruto will recover from this tragedy soon. I cannot let this event haunt him for the rest of his life, but I know he did what he could to escape death. When I saw those crime scene photos earlier, I didn't realize the danger that Naruto had to go through. It just saddens me greatly and I am at a loss for words right now." Apparently, Itachi was never a good brother to Naruto, and when the blonde told me that he wishes to be put up for adoption with a better family, he wasn't lying. I know this because I saw him earlier at that diner as well. He then pauses to regain his composure while wiping sweat from his eyebrows. Finally, it was Sum's turn.
She was fully aware of what happened to Naruto last night and the damages that Itachi had caused.
When she was told about the injuries that Naruto had gotten, she couldn't even look at the sight of him. But what angers her most is Uchiha Itachi himself, because he was the one that set the whole death scene up and tried to frame his little brother Sasuke for it in order to cover his tracks. But the whole thing didn't work. However, she had picked up a note left behind by the criminal before he vanished. She then decides to read it to the rest of the villagers. To all villagers of Konoha, I have decided to leave this dump since I am no longer interested in helping Naruto to achieve his goal.
I tried to frame Sasuke for the murder of my family, but that whole thing didn't work, so I had to finish them myself and used Naruto as bait to get to my brother.
I had to do this to protect Konoha from the real darkness that will plague this place. So don't try to come after me to get revenge, Sasuke. As for Naruto, that Tsukuyomi technique was for betraying my trust and ignoring my warning. I am sorry that you won't be waking up anytime soon. Your fate has already been sealed, and for what I have done, it will haunt you for the rest of your life. Goodbye forever. I will be back to claim your power when the time is right.
P.S. You are all living in eternal darkness, so I am through with Konoha. I am sorry for betraying this place, but it happens every day. You cannot trust anyone around here. Itachi Uchiha. At that moment, Tsume couldn't take it anymore as she tossed the note into the garbage can and vowed to get revenge on Itachi for what he did.
As everyone heard what the note had said, they immediately decided to devise a plan to bring Itachi back and have him answer for his crimes.
But finding him would be most difficult since they have to search everywhere inside and outside of Konoha to track down the killer. They know that Naruto now has the power of the Sharingan in his eyes since he can use it in close combat, but with him bedridden at the moment, they need to find a medical ninja to reverse the Tsukuyomi before Naruto is back on his feet. All right everyone, thank you for your points. I understand that you are all upset right now and that Itachi has escaped from our grasp. However, there is one medical shinobi that I know will be able to save Naruto's life. Lady Tsunade. She is capable of reversing any technique that has affected a shinobi, and with her medical skills, I am certain that she will bring Naruto back to good condition. In the meantime, you guys better head over to the hospital because Naruto needs your comfort right now. In the meantime, Sasuke, can you come up here please? I am sure you would like to add your input as to what your brother had done, said the Hokage. As Sasuke came up, he immediately took the stand at the podium and said, "Citizens of Konoha, as I am sure you are all aware, my brother Itachi hasn't really been himself lately, and I don't know why he went through all this trouble just for killing my family. But what he did here is an intolerable violation of Konoha and the Uchiha clan law. I do not tolerate a shinobi betraying his own family and his own home. But mark my words, I will restore my clan, and when Itachi comes back, I will be ready to kill him and avenge my family. As long as I am still standing, I will have the privilege of being the judge and the executioner. I am only doing this to protect my closest friend and brother, Naruto Uzumaki. I couldn't tell you how sorry I am that he had to go through this. But this should have been a personal matter between me and Itachi, and I will not allow someone else to suffer for it." After he said those words, he left the podium and took his position next to the Hokage. "Thank you for your input, Sasuke. I understand what you have said, and we all know that this crime will not go unpunished. We will seek justice for your family and protect Naruto at all costs. However, you must also protect Naruto as well since he needs a brother to look after him. You are the only person that fills the vacant spot now," said the Hokage while placing his hand on the raven-haired boy's shoulder. "Of course, Hokage-sama. That little brat may be a dead last shinobi, but he does need protection. And of course, I will treat him as a brother. But I know this is not what I had in mind, but I will do it for Naruto. He's going to need all the help he can get," replied Sasuke with an evil smile on his face. The Hokage looked at Sasuke for a moment and smiled. He was relieved that Sasuke will take Itachi's position as a new brother for Naruto. In the meantime, he adjourned the meeting and sent the clan heads to the hospital to comfort Naruto for a while. One by one, everyone left the office and heads off towards the hospital, including Sasuke. But with Itachi still out there somewhere, the Hokage knows that he will be seeking the mysterious power inside Naruto, but the village will have to be prepped if he does return. And so, the hunt for Itachi officially begins. Welcome back everyone. In the last chapter, we've seen how Itachi had slaughtered his entire family and leaving Naruto for dead with the most powerful technique, the Tsukuyomi.
We also learned that he was being put out of commission until a medical shinobi returns to perform a reversal jutsu to undo the Tsukuyomi and rid Naruto of the mental trauma he is going through. Today, Naruto is recovering, but he is still physically and mentally scarred. He is also unconscious as of now ever since Itachi inflicted pain on him. Now on with the show.
After Sasuke had given his speech to the clan heads at the Hokage's office, everyone now knows that Itachi was the one that orchestrated this entire murder with some help from his subordinates, the guards that were at his compound last night. The village is in an uproar right now after what happened, and the clan heads were deeply overwhelmed with the tragedy at hand. However, they realized that Itachi had sent a message for Konoha warning them that he will be back to claim the power that is rightfully his, but the only things that will be Itachi's downfall are punishment and death if he returns to haunt the village again.
Meanwhile, back in the hospital's recovery's room, Naruto was still in bed, out cold due to the effects of Tsukuyomi in his mind.
He couldn't remember much of what happened after Kakashi took him out of the Uchiha compound and in the hospital.
The nurses and the doctors sometimes comes by to check on his health and his prognosis, but he hasn't said a word after the murders because he was still out of it. However, he could never forget the pain that Itachi had caused him after his adoption by the protege, especially Sasuke. He also seems to be most affected by the tragedy as well. But despite what happened, Sasuke never let up hope that Itachi will be found and sentenced for his crimes he committed.
Just then, there were sounds of commotion coming down the hall of the hospital that was adjacent to the surgical ward and the treatment room. As Iruka got up to see what it was, he could see the clan heirs of Konoha, including Sasuke, coming towards Naruto's room. This could mean only one thing. The clan heirs knew about what happened to the blonde and why he had to go through such a dangerous obstacle. However, Iruka never knew that Itachi was the true perpetrator of committing mass murder in Konoha, so he exited the room and headed down the hall to the waiting area. Once the clan heirs arrived at the recovery room, they went in search of Naruto's room until they came across Iruka in the hallway. "What are you doing here, Iruka? I thought you would be at the academy by now teaching students," asked Hana. "Well, Kakashi told me to observe Naruto for a little bit since he got here, but with the medical staff constantly coming in and out of his room, it's been really quiet here so far. So I guess you were here to see Naruto as well, right?" replied Iruka nervously. "Yeah, the request was from the Hokage himself, so here we are. Anyway, has Naruto said a word after he was brought here? We were told by the Hokage that he would be out of commission for a while until they will find a medical shinobi to cure him of Tsukuyomi," said Inoichi as he was about to enter the room. "Naruto hasn't said a word since he was brought here. Even the doctors don't even know when he will wake up. I've been observing him since this morning and he hasn't spoken. I don't know if you guys will be able to wake him up or not," replied Iruka sadly. We can try, but it would prove to be much harder than we thought. Naruto has suffered a lot over the past few weeks after what happened between him and Itachi, so let us observe him for a while. All right, Iruka? We will take good care of him, don't worry," replied Hana as she steps into the room after patting Iruka on the back. After a while, Iruka smiled and knows that Naruto is in good hands now as he takes his leave from the hospital and heads back to the Hokage's office. Once Iruka left, the clan heirs could still see that Naruto hasn't moved an inch. They wondered how he could have gotten involved in this mess after Itachi attacked him and why he waited so long for someone else to come to his rescue. Meanwhile, Akamichi Choza takes a chair and sat down next to Naruto's bedside. This is just horrible to have happened to Naruto. He's just a little kid and not to mention sweet and innocent. But thankfully he will pull though. If he didn't, I would fear the worst is yet to come. What happened to you, Naruto-san? This isn't like you at all, but just hang in there, okay? We are all here for you," he said as he held onto Naruto's hand. Hana also sat down on Naruto's bed and said, "It seems that Naruto won't be able to fight for a few days since his ordeal with Itachi."
"I am no doctor, but I do know that we will get him through these troubling times," Choza-sama. "Looking at these wounds, I noticed that he still has some scars that are not completely healed. But I also noticed that his lacerations are deep too, and it seems that some of his bandages need to be changed as well." Sum also noticed the wounds and agreed as well. They both left the room to find some fresh new bandages while the others keep an eye on Naruto.
Shikaku, on the other hand, was standing near the walls of Naruto's room and wasn't worried, but he has shown deep concern for Naruto's safety and what he went through. These days, he has been hearing rumors that more danger could befall upon this village if Naruto was not up to battling. However, flashbacks shows that Naruto had made a promise to his family and friends that he would stop Itachi if he dared to lay a hand on him or Sasuke. But ever since the murders occurred, it seems hopeless for Naruto to fulfill his promise now because of what Itachi-sama had done. However, he knows that Naruto will not give up hope that the perpetrator will be found and tried for his crimes. He then sat down next to Naruto's bedside while placing his hand on the boy's face, hoping for a miracle. "Naruto-san, what troublesome things have you gotten yourself into? You said you wouldn't get involved in Itachi's family business, but, well, I can't allow you to take all the blame for what that protege did. And I would do whatever it takes to take the pain and the hurt away from you. It won't be just me, but everyone here around me will help as well, all right? We will get you through this nightmare, buddy." Despite what happened to Naruto, the entire village of Konoha is hoping for a miracle that will bring hope and peace.
But with both Itachi and the demon in their villages, the chances of having peace will be slim. With Naruto completely incapacitated and bedridden, the only other shinobi that can take Naruto's place for fighting is Uchiha Sasuke, since he the strength and the pride of the Uchiha clan.
But one thing is certain, as the judge and executioner, Sasuke will punish any other enemy that dares to stand in his way of achieving his goal, but he isn't going to accomplish this mission on his own. He plans to enlist help from other villages to track down Itachi in order to expose his criminal behavior and his true colors. The thought this mission was going through Sasuke's head, but he has to do it for the village, for Naruto, and for his family and friends. Everything is on the line for both Naruto and Sasuke, since the Hokage cannot guarantee their safety here. Meanwhile, back in the compound, Sasuke looks back at the picture of his beloved family on his wall and reminisces about all the good times he and his parents had before Itachi came to their life and what they did together as a family.
Fugaku was a good father and a man that always thinks highly of his sons, and he loved his wife a lot.
He would never do anything that would jeopardize his family. As for Naruto, well, there were some tensions between them, but he cared a lot for both Naruto and Sasuke's well-being and would protect them from any sorts of danger. As Sasuke rummaged through the photos of when his father taught Naruto the basics of the Sharingan, he couldn't help but smile and thought to himself, that dead last shinobi has learned a few tricks of the trade. HMMPH, I just love a guy that doesn't overthink things, but my father has taught him everything he knows. That kid sure is a persistent little fellow who always aims to please. I always thought Naruto wouldn't be accepted into our life, but now I was wrong. But now, seeing him going through something as horrible as this, I don't know what to say now. As he continued to look at the photos taken after the massacre, tears of helplessness came out of his eyes as he sees the damage that Itachi had done to his own home and the family he loved.
Soon he tossed the photo album onto the ground and leaves the compound for the hospital, knowing that Naruto needs him for comfort. "I hope I am not too late. Hang in there, bro. I will be there as soon as I can. Just hold on for a little bit longer." He then dashed out of his house and rushed towards the hospital where Naruto was.
As Sasuke arrived moments after leaving his compound, he asked the nurse to direct him to where Naruto's room was. Once he got the directions, he heads down the hall towards the recovery wing of the hospital where the clan heirs are. I see that he has some visitors already. This is a touching reunion. But I must see if Naruto is okay, he thought to himself as he continued onwards towards Naruto's room. He entered the door quietly and closed it behind him after walking inside. Once inside, he was greeted by the clan heirs. "You must be Sasuke Uchiha, the last member of the Uchiha clan to remain standing after your family was murdered. So I see you are here to check up on Naruto-san, right?" asked Hiyashi. "That's me, all right, and I am the one that possesses the Sharingan power. So I see you know about my parents' death. Yeah, my former brother, Itachi, killed my family and made Naruto suffer for it. I think the reason he did that was to send a message to me that he will be back for Naruto's hidden power inside of him. As soon as I heard about Naruto's injuries, I had to come straight here. Now if you are thinking that I had something to do with my family's death, you are barking up the wrong tree. Now that I am here, what is the status of Naruto's condition?" asked Sasuke. "Well, given the troublesome situation that Naruto is in right now, he still hasn't said a word since he was brought here, and he still hasn't woken up yet. It's very strange, but I think Naruto is being heavily consumed by the effects of your brother's technique.
I honestly don't know if he will ever come out of this nightmare. I don't know what I am going to tell my son if he hears about this. And I am also hoping for a miracle soon since the Hokage told me that a healer will be returning to cure the blonde of his injuries," replied Shikaku while looking over at Sasuke.
Sasuke then walked over to Naruto's bedside and sat down on the chair while placing his hand on Naruto's head as he gently strokes it.
He then held onto Naruto's hand and said to him, "Naruto.
Uzumaki, I know you can hear me, but from now on, I will be the one to look after you and take care of you like any other brother would do. The reason why I am doing this is to protect you from Itachi since he is after the power inside of you and I will not allow him to get his hands on you."
His voice was starting to break up. I also saw the photos at home and you didn't deserve this, bro, but I can't tell you how sorry I am to see you going through a personal matter that you didn't want to get involved in. Rest assured, we won't let you go through with this suffering.
But I beg of you, please wake up and open your eyes or at least say something. He then placed Naruto's hand on his head while hugging him gently.
As the clan heirs watched, they could see that tears were rolling out of his eyes since this tragedy has affected him as well.
They just didn't know what else they could do for the two best friends and brothers that had known each other for such a long time. But Sasuke struggled really hard with his revenge and hate and tries not to let it get to his head, but no matter how much pain he was in, he couldn't bear it any longer. Soon, the clan heirs decides to step out into the hallway to give Naruto and Sasuke some time to themselves because they never knew how much Sasuke cared for Naruto and the bonds they had together since childhood. Even though both boys had disagreed about things and got into fights, they still became best friends and grew to be as close as brothers. Just then, Kakashi stepped into the hospital hallway where he sees the clan heirs outside of Naruto's doorway and said, "Well, hello there folks. I see that you guys have decided to pay Naruto a little visit. Isn't that nice of you folks? But well, I am here to check on Naruto's status and has he woken up yet?"
The clan heirs looked at each other and told him that nothing has changed since the blonde was brought into the hospital after the murders in Sasuke's home. They also told him that Naruto won't be able to participate in combat until a healer from outside of Konoha returns to rid the boy of his mental stress and his injuries.
Kakashi looked at them for a moment and then heads inside the room and sat down on Naruto's bedside. He felt so ashamed that he didn't come to the boy's rescue on time after Itachi kidnapped him and nearly took his life apart. But Kakashi now knows that Naruto needed a lot of protection this time around since more danger is bound to loom ahead.
"Oh, Naruto, I am so sorry that I didn't make it in time to save you from the compound, but no matter what happens, I will also be here for you as well. I've already heard from the Hokage about what Sasuke had said and I really hope you will recover soon, don't worry. I promise you, all of us will get you through this, okay?" he said to him while gently rubbing his face. He can already sense that the protege will be back for him, but the village will be ready to face him when the time comes.
As Kakashi closed the door behind him, Shikaku approached him and asked, "I really hope Naruto will get through this because you are not the only person that is worried about his safety. We all are right now. Despite the troublesome situation, we cannot allow a traitor of Konoha to get anywhere near him because we fear that he could be at risk of death, and that is something we shall not allow here. Do you think he will be fine with Sasuke around?" Kakashi sighed and placed a hand on the lazy-ass Junin and said, "Don't worry, Shikaku-san. I am sure Sasuke will take great care of him, but it was actually my fault for not getting him out of Itachi's place on time because I thought he would be able to get out of the danger zone on his own. I couldn't do anything to stop Itachi from killing his family and I have to take full responsibility for what happened." "Kakashi, you don't have to blame yourself for what happened, although I can say that Naruto will pull through this. But you must not give up hope on him. I do know what it feels like to lose a family that you love so much, but all this hatred from the villagers has to stop," said Choza. Later, at the Hokage's office, as the old man sat down to get some paperwork finished, he didn't notice that a former student with long white hair and sandals was out in Konoha peeping again. So he sent any available shinobi to bring the guy back into the tower for an urgent message. As the former pupil arrived at the old man's office, he said to him, "You got some nerve to interrupt me during my research here in Konoha, and why have you brought me here in your office?" The Hokage looked at him for a moment and said, "Ever since Sasuke's former brother and protege murdered his family and defected from the village, Naruto-san has been in constant pain, especially the mental stress going on inside his head as well. I fear that if he doesn't get help soon, he might not get through this nightmare. So I need you to get into Tanzaku Town and find a healer that specializes in curing Naruto of his mental stress in order to get rid of the Tsukuyomi affecting him. If you can bring the healer back into Konoha, Naruto may have a second chance at life, he said to him. If you are talking about the legendary healer Tsunade, she will be the perfect candidate to heal Naruto. But finding her will be difficult to do because no one had seen or heard from her for several years now. However, I can't say no to not finding her, but I will do this for Naruto and for the village. But I do have a request though, Sarutobi, replied the former student. What is it, Jiraiya-sama? You are not thinking of taking Naruto with you on the trip, are you? Said the Hokage ruefully. Jiraiya looked at the Hokage with fear in his eyes and said, no.
I mean, of course not. Do you really think I would bring Naruto-kun in his current condition?
And seriously, does Itachi Uchiha really call himself a brother after what he did to the poor kid? When I find Itachi, I will personally hunt him down and kill him myself. Now I can understand that Sasuke will be looking after Naruto for a while, but I need to bring Sakura-chan along with me so that together we might be able to locate Tsunade and save Naruto's life. It will take a few days to find her, but I think we can get this mission accomplished in time. And don't worry, I will make sure not to let Sakura get involved with the research that I am working on. He finally relieved himself of the fear inside of him because if anyone found out about his research, his entire work could be compromised. He then immediately dashed out of the Hokage's office and went to find Sakura before leaving for their trip to bring Tsunade back. The Hokage watched with interest and smiled. That old coot sure has a lot of weird ways to treat women, and he will never change no matter what he does, but he never ceases to amaze me. Elsewhere, Sakura seems to be getting worried about Naruto when he didn't even show up at her apartment this morning. She started to wonder what happened to him as she prepares to head over to the hospital.
But soon, she could see a tall white-haired man with a usual-looking symbol on his forehead at her doorstep.
She then invited him in and asked him, "Who are you, sir? Do you know where Naruto is right now? I am getting worried about him when he didn't come home last night because he usually stops by here each time to check on how I was doing and all,"
asked Sakura with a look of despair on her face. Jiraiya looked at her for a moment and took her to the couch in the living room.
As they sat down, he told her that Naruto was being sent to the hospital with serious injuries inflicted by Itachi after he murdered his own clan. As Sakura hears this, she was devastated to hear what happened to the kid and wanted to help him with the healing process. Furthermore, Sakura was told that Naruto will be out of action temporarily until a healer is found. At first, Sakura didn't know that the kid would be in this sort of danger, but now she fears that death could happen to Naruto if he isn't protected. However, Jiraiya reassures her that Naruto will pull through since he already has Sasuke and Kakashi looking after him. Sakura-chan, how would you like me to take you to Tanzaku Town to find a person that specializes in healing? There is a woman that I've known for a while now since she is another one of the Hokage's students and a close personal friend of mine. I wanted you to meet her so that we can discuss the situation at hand once we get there. What do you say? Asked Jiraiya. If we can heal Naruto of his injuries, then of course I would go with you. But I sure hope that Tsunade-sama knows about what Itachi had done to him, and I really hope Sasuke can avenge his family soon," replied Sakura. She tried to avoid the fear getting to her head as she gathers up her equipment and leaves the house while closing the door behind her.
Once outside, Jiraiya told Sakura to meet her at the gates of Konoha in about 30 minutes. He then takes his leave from the pink-haired Kunoichi's house after his little talk with her.
As she heads outside, she makes a quick trip to the hospital and asked where Naruto's room was, but before she could get there, she sees Kakashi and Sasuke calling for her to follow them down the hall towards Naruto's room.
Once she arrived, she notices that Naruto was still unconscious from the beatings and that his injuries are not fully healed. She then looked at Kakashi and Sasuke and asked, what kind of a sick monster would do this to a poor innocent child like Naruto? Just the thought of seeing him badly injured like this makes me sick to my stomach. I warned him that Itachi would be a threat, but I never expected him to go this far. Did Itachi put him in the middle of the family dispute? She asked.
Sakura-chan, Itachi was the one that took Naruto into his life after he signed the adoption papers in the Hokage's office.
I didn't know what my former brother was thinking after adopting him, but I was certain that he was up to no good. At first I didn't think that Naruto would be that important to me, but seeing what he was going through, I couldn't understand why Itachi-ne-san wanted to hurt him, it's just not right.
After my family took Naruto in, I was able to train him for a while to get him stronger so he can perfect his combat skills. Then I started to warm up to Naruto and we became the best of friends.
Now, all those good memories are taken away from him.
So I was now given a duty to look after Naruto and avenge my family at the same time. You have no idea of what it feels like to lose a family that you love the most. Even though Naruto doesn't know much about me, I still think of him as a family and a loving brother, not that I blame him. But no matter how much I despise him, we care for each other a lot. And yes, Itachi did get him involved in the domestic disturbance, replied Sasuke while sitting down on at Naruto's bedside holding onto his hand.
Sakura was shocked to hear the truth about what happened between Sasuke and Naruto.
She never realized the pain that both of them are going through.
She was nearly ready to cry, but Kakashi immediately placed his hand on the girl's shoulder for comfort and told her that everything will be okay. He also reassured to her that a healer will come and bring Naruto back to his old self again since he is a strong fighter.
Just then, from the window Kakashi could see Jiraiya near the gates of Konoha calling for Sakura to get ready for the mission that they are pursuing. So Kakashi gave her some Kleenex before she leaves with Jiraiya-sama while he and Sasuke look after Naruto. But in Naruto's mind, he knows that a miracle will be ready for him soon and that he vows not to let the entire village down as he made a promise to Sasuke to help him defeat his former brother and show his true strength. Once Sakura was outside, she heads towards the gates of Konoha and sees Master Jiraiya waiting for her. "So what took you so long to get here? Did you get lost on the way?" he asked her. Sakura looked him while drying the tears from her eyes. "No, I stopped by at the hospital to comfort Naruto for a bit, but I really hope he will make it through this. I don't want to see him suffering so much pain just like Sasuke. You have no idea what Naruto had gone through and—" But Jiraiya immediately interrupted her and said, "Of course I know what Naruto had gone through. You think I don't know what Itachi is capable of next? He is a menace of Konoha and a danger to the civilians. The Hokage told me everything about Itachi and the threat he poses to his own home, but I will make damn good sure that Naruto gets the recovery he needs. Sakura. Don't worry about anything. I am sure that the girl we meet will make an excellent healer for Konoha and who knows maybe you could be a great medical shinobi one day. Ha 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 ha." Sakura's sweat dropped at that remark, but she shrugged it off and leaves Konoha village for Tanzaku town with Jiraiya with the hope that Naruto can be cured. As she looks back at Konoha from behind her, she thought to herself, "Naruto, just hang in there for a little while longer, we will be back to cure you of your nightmares soon. Until then, please have faith in us and we will be back soon." And with that she and Jiraiya ventured off into the distance of Tanzaku town. Elsewhere, deep in the forest, Itachi had already gone completely out of sighting range of Konoha. He then heads out of the forest and arrives at an undisclosed hideout not far from the Tsunade village. Once Itachi arrives inside the hideout, he is greeted by the other members of the Akatsuki. "I presume that you are all gathered here for something important, am I right?" asked Itachi. "You are late on arrival and what took you so long to leave Konoha anyway, asked Deidara. "Sorry, I was pinned down by that bratty knucklehead named Naruto. Even though I managed to dispose Sasuke of his family and leaving the blonde in an unconscious state, we should be able to retrieve the power inside of Naruto when the time is right," replied Itachi while catching his breath. "We won't just capture what is inside of the blonde, we will capture all the tailed beasts from all the hosts. Now, why didn't you finish Naruto off anyway?" asked Sasori. "When I saw the true form of the monster instead of him, I quickly rushed out of Konoha while deactivating my Sharingan technique. I couldn't finish him off because killing him now would jeopardize my mission, so I left him a message that I will be back to take what's inside of him. I couldn't care less about his family love crap, but there won't be anyone to save him when I am through, believe me. Naruto won't escape this time," finished Itachi while keeping his Sharingan activated. "All right, Itachi, thank you for your input. We will deal with all the tailed beasts when the time is right," said Zetsu. Soon, all the members of the Akatsuki dispersed from the meeting area and returned to their posts. Soon Itachi disappeared with the other members and all of them have gone into hiding until their next appearance. Knowing everyone, the Akatsuki are now being considered a threat to all villages and they must be dealt with immediately. Meanwhile, back in the outskirts of Konoha, Sakura begins to ask, "Master Jiraiya, who is this healer that we are looking for and what is she like?" Jiraiya looked at her and said, "Oh, She is about the same age as me, and she is a compulsive gambler.
Sometimes she can be bossy and all, but she does have a soft side, and I know that Naruto will be glad to see her soon enough, especially Sarutobi himself. However, I just wish she didn't break all of my bones in my body. I may be an old coot, but I am still in good health. Sakura just pretended that she didn't hear it from him as they continued their journey to Tanzaku town in the search for the miracle healer. But she always wanted to meet the mystery woman and her apprentice if Naruto was to have any chances of surviving.
Sakura-chan, let me ask you, what's your relationship to Naruto anyway? Asked Jiraiya-sama. Well, to me, Naruto is just my friend, it's not like that I have a love thing with him.
Even though he may be bratty and a loud mouth, but still cares a lot for me and Sasuke.
I almost felt kind of bad of what happened to him just a few days ago.
But no matter what happens, I will always be there for him as a friend.
I will not allow him to die at the hands of Itachi-san. As Jiraiya heard those words, he smiled at her. No wonder she had developed a soft side for the poor kid after the loss of the family that he loved so much, but in spite of what happened, Jiraiya knows that he is not giving up hope. As they arrived at the outskirts of Tanzaku Pass, they could see Tanzaku town right in front of them. So this is the place where you mentioned about that mystery healer. Well, let's hope that we find the person and convince her to heal our Naruto. And I hope you can tell her about what Itachi had done, replied Sakura. Jiraiya then put his hands on the kunoichi's shoulder and said, not to worry, Sakura-chan. I've got this all under control. Just follow me inside and we can get this all straightened out without blowing our cover. Rest assured, the report that I got here will no doubt give her proof about the perpetrator's criminal history and his behavior. So what do you say we go in and find out where she is? Finished Jiraiya. Sakura was reluctant at first, but finally followed Jiraiya into Tanzaku town to find the mystery healer and hopefully, to bring Naruto back to his normal self. But convincing her to come back to Konoha is not going to be easy since the woman has a handful of secrets that she kept hidden after going into exile for such a long time. Who knows what that woman will tell to the people of Konoha? Only time will tell. As the sun begins to set, Naruto's healing process is about to begin. As Jiraiya and Sakura both entered Tanzaku town, they could see that the entire place was filled with casinos, food shops, and also restaurants as well. They know that the mystery healer is somewhere inside these buildings in the town. So, they decided to split up and started searching the town to find the women that they were looking for. But since the place was so big, it seems impossible to find her with all the people around. While Sakura was showing the picture of the women to the local population, they said they never saw the women enter their shops before or the restaurants. However, they told Sakura to look around at casinos, or maybe hotels. Those are the last places that she could have gone to. Elsewhere, Jiraiya was having the same difficulty locating the healer that he was looking for. He then tells the local population that he isn't just looking for the healer, he is also looking for her apprentice as well. But still, the townspeople did not see her anywhere. Jiraiya was about to give up when he sees Sakura coming towards him. Well, did you have any luck finding our person of importance? Sorry, Master Jiraiya. I've searched all the hotels and restaurants and they said they didn't see her hiding out in any of them. I've even checked the smaller casinos and the owner said he didn't see any healer in there. Replied Sakura. Jiraiya placed a hand on his head and thought to himself, this is going to be harder than I thought. That woman has to be here somewhere and the coordinates say she is somewhere in a restaurant called Tanzaku Diner and Grill. It shouldn't be too far away. He then takes out his map and was shocked to see that they were at the west end of the town. They were supposed to turn east and then due north to find the women they are looking for. So they backtracked out of the eastern district and headed towards the diner. Elsewhere, in a casino not far from the diner, a large ponytailed woman with the kanji, legend, on her back decided to check out the casino machines and wanted to place a few bets to make herself rich. She hadn't had much luck in gambling since she always seemed to lose money rather than making them. Even the woman holding the small pig on her hand thought so too. Tsunade-sama, you don't have to waste your money here or in the casino, you should save it for something else. I think it's time we tend to other matters, replied her apprentice while watching her playing the slot machines. Shizune, I already know that I am in debt, and I haven't been paying up as I should have, but not to worry, I will pay them back somehow if I can win it all back. However, Winning it all back will prove to be a difficult task, and I am certain that someone out there is looking for me and asking me to return to the village. But I don't know if I can actually show my face after so many years of exile. This place is nice, but I sure miss my old home a lot," replied Tsunade.
Shizune couldn't imagine how Lady Tsunade felt after what happened to her family, but she couldn't face the truth of telling anyone else about. She seems to be upset that everyone wants a piece of another person's flesh instead of putting their love and trust for them.
Unfortunately, not even Tsunade can sit around and mope all day, but she has moved on with her life and had forgotten about the past. But she was still thinking about the painful memories of how her own life was screwed up by the forces of evil.
The only reason she went into hiding was because she didn't want to endure the burden or the pain that she suffered all those years ago.
Even Shizune knows the pain that Tsunade is going through, and the passing of time does not take away the pain for her, but she has learned to deal with it. As the healer continued to gamble, she seems to be less interested in winning and focused more on healing the injured. Once the announcer called the winnings, Tsunade's luck seems to be back in her favor as she picked up her winnings and left the casino. They then headed towards a nearby bar next to their hotel for a drink to freshen their minds. Elsewhere, Jiraiya and Sakura searched all over Tanzaku town to find their person of importance, but they had no luck.
Just as they were about to give up, a nearby merchant walks up to them and asked, "Are you guys looking for Tsunade-sama and her assistant Shizune? If so, she is probably at a nearby bar in the eastern part of Tanzaku town. It's right next to the inn. You might be able to catch up with her once you get inside, but be careful. I heard that Tsunade is one hell of a gambler since her luck seems to be returning to her."
Once Jiraiya and Sakura obtained the whereabouts of Tsunade from the merchant, they head off to the eastern part of town and headed towards the bar next to the hotel as directed by the street merchant.
Elsewhere at the undisclosed location, Itachi could see that Jiraiya has enlisted help from someone to get Naruto back to his old self, but he plans to eliminate him before Naruto can be healed.
Before he left, he could see that another young kunoichi was with him during the search, and he was shocked to find Sakura was also on this mission. What is a girl like her doing with an old coot in Tanzaku town? She cannot seriously be helping him to save Naruto, is she? I have got to stop them before it's too late, he thought to himself as he vanishes into a puff of smoke and begins his hunt. However, Jiraiya and Sakura does not know that a mysterious protege and former brother of Sasuke's was hot on their trail, since they will be more vulnerable to enemies here, but they are well prepared in case someone shows up to attack them. As Jiraiya and Sakura enter the bar, they seem to encounter a whole bunch of people around drinking and chatting with one another at tables. However, the women that they are searching for must be somewhere inside. As they ventured further into the bar, they could hear two women talking about the good times they had together adjacent to the window seats. They knew who the voices belonged to as they rushed towards them and shouted, "Tsunade-sama! I've been looking for you all day. We were just about to leave this place because we get lost too easily around here," he said to her. "Jiraiya, what on earth are you doing here, and how did you find me all the way out here?" asked Tsunade with a shocked look on her face. "Well, it's about Naruto actually. The Hokage sent me here to bring you back to Konoha because of Itachi-san. I am afraid I've got some bad news for you," said Jiraiya. "I see, so why does Sarutobi want me home so badly? Go on, Jiraiya, what happened?" she asked while giving him a chair. Once he sat down, he begins to tell her of the grievous news that has happened in Konoha. Well, Itachi was once a former brother of Sasuke Uchiha, and the Hokage asked him to take Naruto in and have him become a part of their family, but things didn't go as planned. He wasn't the big brother figure that everyone thought he was. So he used Naruto to get his family and then framed the murders on his other brother, Sasuke. In other words, he murdered his entire clan and left Naruto for dead. Also, he unleashed his Tsukuyomi upon the defenseless Naruto, and in turn he now has severe mental stress and a nightmare that he will never come out of. He is still unconscious at the moment, and if he doesn't get cured soon, he might not survive," finished Jiraiya while giving her a file on Itachi and his criminal record. As Tsunade looked at the mug shot of Itachi Uchiha and the gruesome crime scene photos that were taken after the murders, her anger was starting to intensify in her head as she banged her fists on the table, causing a huge shockwave, knocking down glass cups and silverware on the floor. "Oh boy, she looks pissed already when I showed her the photos. I've never seen her this upset before in my life since she nearly killed me with her attacks," thought Jiraiya as he followed her outside of the bar while Shizune followed them close behind. What happened to Naruto, Master Jiraiya? Is he going to be all right? She asked him. Well, he is still unconscious at the moment, so the only way to get him to wake up is to get rid of that Tsukuyomi from his head so that he can be his normal self. Once that has all been taken care of, we can ask him about what Itachi did to him on the night his family was murdered, replied Jiraiya with a dismayed look on his face. At that moment, Shizune now knows the fate of the child and what he was going through, but she will try what she can to get him back to his normal self. Soon Tsunade now decided that something must be done to stop Itachi from harming the child and called, "Jiraiya, can you come here please? I need to talk to you right away." And he rushed over to Tsunade's side as they took a walk around the town. "Yes, I am coming, Tsunade-sama. Oh, I forgot something. This here is Sakura, one of Nato's best friend. She also saw how Itachi had mistreated Naruto, and so I decided to take her with me to find you so that you can cure him. If you haven't noticed, Sakura is one of Naruto's close childhood friends who care a lot about the child," replied Jiraiya as he placed Sakura in between him and Tsunade. "It's very nice to meet you, Tsunade-sama. I am glad that we could run into each other at a place like this," said Sakura as she shook the woman's hand while bowing to her. Tsunade on the other hand showed off her smile at her and shook her hand back and said, "Likewise, Sakura-chan. Don't worry, I will do what I can to heal your friend from the mental torture that is affecting him. But let me go talk to Master Jiraiya for a little bit while you talk with Shizune." "Okay. Rest assured, Naruto-kun will be good hands with us," replied Tsunade as she placed a comforting hand on Sakura's shoulder as she let out a smile for the first time. Sakura was relieved to have found the healer that can save Naruto's life and heads off to find Shizune. "Jiraiya-sama, let me ask you, what was the Hokage thinking of putting Naruto in such a dangerous situation like this? He knows Itachi would be a huge threat to everyone in Konoha, so why did Naruto get adopted by that protege anyway?" she asked him. "Well, the Hokage wanted him to obtain something called the Sharingan so that he can use it for close combat with real enemies. I think the only reason why he wanted Naruto adopted by the Uchiha clan was to have Itachi train him on how to master the chakra needed to use the Sharingan. But as soon as I found out about what Itachi did to his family, I could have stopped him myself and stopped the training between them, but it was too late. I couldn't do anything to save him. To tell you the truth, Itachi wasn't the loving brother that everyone thought he'd be. I was actually surprised that he turned against his own village and murdered the ones he loved," replied Jiraiya. "The Sharingan? Why would Sarutobi put Naruto up with a family that possesses this technique? Although I heard about Naruto's near demise, but from the crime scene photos you showed me, Itachi could have at least turned himself into the Anbu guards, but he has to kill his own family and leave his home. That's pretty stupid. I would imagine that Naruto is feeling a lot of pain and hurt right now. But Itachi should never have taken advantage of that kid. But Sasuke seems to have a hard time accepting the loss of his family right now. If we do find Itachi, I promise I will give him the pain like he's never felt before, and I will show him the meaning of suffering," replied Tsunade while clenching her fists. "I am with you, Tsunade-sama. We are not going to allow Naruto to endure all the pain and suffering. But you know, Itachi is nowhere to be seen after he killed his family. After his disappearance from Konoha, it seems that he could be going into hiding for a while since he won't admit his guilt. But wherever he is, we will find him. And when we do, he will suffer the ultimate punishment," said Jiraiya with a fired-up look. Meanwhile, back at the undisclosed location, Itachi listened into the conversation between Jiraiya and Tsunade and begins to wonder if he should admit his guilt. But he doesn't seem to care about the people he has hurt back in Konoha, and there wasn't a sign of confession coming from him. If he does get caught, his whole plan will be ruined. So in order for Itachi to evade capture, he must first take care of Tsunade before she can reach Konoha. However, he will need some bits of assistance from one of the members of the Akatsuki to go with him to Tanzaku town and find the healer. So, Itachi emerges from his quarters and went to Kisame's room. "Kisame Dono, can you do me a favor? Please accompany me to Tanzaku town because there is some urgent business that I need to do there. Once we take care of the situation, we can prepare our plans to capture the host inside of Naruto," he said to him. Kisame looked at Itachi with an evil grin on his face and prepared his weapons before heading out to Tanzaku town. "All right then, but I hope you know what you are doing. But my guts tell me that you will not stand a chance against a Sannin since they have more powerful techniques that can overpower your Mangekyo Sharingan. So I advise you to be careful, he said while prepping his weapon as they both head out to find Tsunade. But knowing the Akatsuki, finding the Sannin will prove to be difficult since they are far away from the hideout and undetectable. But with Itachi's Sharingan and his sensing abilities, he might just be able to find them without difficult lies. Later, back in the Tanzaku Inn, Tsunade seems to be uncomfortable about what happened to Naruto and she feels that even if he is healed, he might not be back to his old self and he could end up with the same injuries again at the hands of Itachi. But she had no other choice. With a price on Naruto's head, he could be worth more dead than alive. But despite what happened, she has to make sure that Naruto is back in good condition so that he can fight again. Hang in there, Naruto, Ba-chan is on her way. Just hold on for a bit longer, she thought to herself. She then called upon Shizune to accompany her back to Konoha since they know that the entire village is expecting her arrival. However, Tsunade and Jiraiya does not know that they are being watched by two members of a mysterious organization that wants what is inside of Naruto. But they're well prepared to defend their home and the child from those scums and Itachi because the former brother has to answer for his crimes. As the gang leaves the inn, they stopped by at a nearby restaurant on the way back to Konoha for a little bit of lunch since they need to have enough strength to battle Itachi. But with Naruto's life on the line, he doesn't have much time left. Itachi and Kisame are already on their way to Tanzaku town to find the person of interest, but with a lot of inhabitants roaming around, they have to remain in hiding. At the restaurant, Tsunade and Jiraiya decided to talk about the happy times they had together when they were former pupils under Sarutobi-sama. But Tsunade seems to be thinking about the old man and his duties as Hokage. Speaking of Sarutobi, how is he doing thus far? I haven't seen him for such a long time, she said. Oh, I am sure he is fine. But he is very busy taking care of the kids and assigning them missions based upon their ranks and abilities. I know, the village is everything to him and he cannot let the place go to waste. He also knows about the danger that Naruto had went through, but still as a grandfather, he knows how to keep him comfortable. He never ceases to amaze me, but I must say, I am just proud of everything he does, replied Jiraiya while smiling. He's such a magnificent Hokage, Tsunade-sama. I am just happy that you were such wonderful students to him, and if he was here, he'd be as proud of you guys as I am now. But there is still the matter of Naruto's recovery process that we have to do though. I wonder what that kid did to deserve such pain, said Shizune without hesitation. Naruto didn't deserve to suffer at the hands of a mass murderer, but I know that he is in good hands with Sasuke and the families of Konoha. Sometimes I do wonder if Mr. Shikaku would be able to assist me in medical healing when I return home. I know he specializes in all different kinds of healing abilities, but if he can help me with Naruto's injuries, I am sure his son wouldn't mind, said Tsunade. Are you sure about that, Tsunade-sama? I always thought being a medical shinobi like you, but I've always been a burden to everyone. I don't know how I am able to help Naruto with his healing process, but as a close friend of his, I will take full responsibility for him just like Sasuke. However, with what Itachi did to him, I cannot forgive that guy for all the pain and hurt he gave to Naruto. But we need to take it all away from him, said Sakura with a sad expression on her face. Knowing her, Tsunade feels that Sakura was fearing for Naruto's safety when she saw the damage done. But Tsunade reassures her that everything will be okay and that Naruto has gained the strength and courage from his friends. Even so, everyone in the village is praying for a miracle soon and will not give up on him. After everyone had finished eating, they exited the restaurant and continued on their way to Konoha with things looking peaceful ahead of them. But little do they know that they are being followed by two mysterious figures, but they didn't take too much notice of it. As they continued down the road past the steep forest and into the Tanzaku town outskirts, they are now out of danger, but soon, more trouble starts to arise when two mysterious guys with red and black robes appears in front of them. However, Tsunade doesn't know what these people want from them, but she soon realized something and their rings on their fingers and their plot. I had a feeling these people would show up sooner or later, and I know that one of you is responsible for Naruto's near death. You can take off that hat now, Itachi Uchiha, said Tsunade with evil glint look on her face. Well, I see that you remember my name, Tsunade-sama. How very perceptive of you. And here I thought that you were dead or something. So what makes you think that you can defeat me this time? Asked Itachi with a monotonous tone. You will be the one to suffer defeat when I take you down for what you did to Uzumaki Naruto. I saw the torment you unleashed on him and I will not allow you to escape this time. I couldn't imagine how a young protege like you could become the Konoha's most wanted criminal. But still you will pay dearly for what you did to Naruto and your brother Sasuke. You will have to answer your crimes sooner or later," said Jiraiya while preparing his battle stance. "This guy has mysterious powers beyond our understanding and I think it's time we pinpoint their weakness before they expose it to us. We should be cautious as to what this guy can pull because if we make one wrong move, we're done for," he thought to himself. "What happened to my family is of little importance and as for Naruto's injuries, I don't care about that either. While I am no longer a part of Konoha village anymore, I've already made a decision to join the Akatsuki. And before you ask, it was Sasuke that killed the family I loved, not me." Naruto had sent Sasuke to a death trap by tying him up and locking him in his room. He then took the sword and well, you know the rest. So if you want to blame someone, blame it on the street fox. Okay. And I am not returning to Konoha just to feel sorry for the brat. Now putting my family aside, let's get on with this fight," said Itachi as he activates his Sharingan.
"All right, but don't say I didn't warn you and I don't think Naruto will believe in your lies when we interrogate him back in the village. You Akatsuki scums are done. Let's settle this once and for all," boomed Tsunade. She then turned to Shizune and said, "Please take Sakura-chan somewhere safe. If she is harmed, I don't want to be held responsible for what happens to her. Now go, get her to safety."
"Yes, ma'am, at once," she said as she took Sakura by the arm and escorted her to a nearby bush in the forest for safety while Jiraiya and Tsunade prepared to battle the Akatsuki in a 2-on-1 showdown to save Naruto's life. As Kisame watched, he seems amused that 2 of the legendary Sanins can handle an Akatsuki all on their own. But it seems pointless for Kisame to join in now since Itachi told him that he can handle this. As Itachi took his fighting stance, he activates his Sharingan while the 2 Sanins begin their attack on Itachi's body parts. Despite the shurikens being tossed, they seem to have less effect on the protege. Ninja art. Needle Jizo, called Jiraiya as a barrage of needles went flying towards Itachi and pinning him on the ground. However, the man couldn't help but chuckle as he said, "Is that all you got, Jiraiya-sama? You know you are no match for an opponent like me. You haven't seen the rest of what I can do yet. You are just starting to feel the burn going through your body, so maybe this ought to fire you up." Ninja art. Toad flame bombs. Soon the entire area around Itachi was engulfed in flames as he starts to see his robe being caught by the fire. "You are going to pay for ruining my robe like that." He then activates his next stage of his eye, called the Mangekyo Sharingan, and sent it towards Tsunade. Jiraiya knew what was coming next and warned her, "Close your eyes, Tsunade-sama. Don't open them, you don't want to get caught in the guy's illusion jutsu." Tsunade immediately closed her eyes and thought to herself, "What is this guy? I've never seen such a technique like that, but I bet he must have casted it on Naruto before he defected from Konoha. I better put a stop to his techniques before someone gets hurt." She then jumped back to prevent herself from falling victim to Itachi's attacks, but suddenly, she finds herself face to face with Kisame and his Samehada. Oh no! Where did he come from? I bet that guy is Itachi's partner. Soon she could feel the sharks biting on her arm and her legs from Kisame's attack as blood started oozing from the wounds that she got. Kisame then kicked Tsunade sky high, but she easily dodged his attack and begins to unleash her full fury on him as she punches him repeatedly without breaking a sweat. But just as Kisame was about to throw Tsunade to the ground, she grabbed the sword that was in his hand and took a swing at his arm, causing a deep gash on one of them. Despite the pain, Kisame slowly started to give in. "It's been a while since I've seen Tsunade-sama in action, but I don't know how much longer she can hold these Akatsuki people off. But she just never gives up and she is showing a lot of courage out there in her fierce battling skills," thought Shizune. But she was certain that the lady can easily knock the living daylights out of Kisame since he is almost out of chakra. "You are a powerful medical shinobi, Tsunade-sama, and your battling skills really amuses me, but there is no way you can defeat a protege like me. You will be dead before you could set foot in Konoha," shouted Itachi as he unleashed a barrage of punches at Tsunade, but she dodged easily and blocked his punches. She then kicked Itachi in the face and punched him in the gut. She then grabbed his hand and swung him around and around until she sent him crashing onto the ground, nearly breaking every single bone in his body. Even though they both suffered damage and injuries, she was strong enough to send them packing. What's happened to me? Why'd I have the feeling that I am getting stronger and stronger each time no matter what hits I take? What is this feeling inside of me and why am I FGHTING to save someone's life? She thought to herself as she continued fighting the Akatsuki off. With Itachi suffering the most amount of blows, he decides to take out his sword, which was the same one being used in the murders of his family, and decides to finish off Tsunade once and for all. While Tsunade was busy trying to recover from her battle, Itachi sees an opening in her body and proceeds to attack. Nearby, Shizune shouted to her, "Tsunade, in front of you. Be careful of his blade, it will," but before she could finish her sentence, Tsunade could feel the blade shoved right in front of her chest with blood gushing out, but remarkably, she was still able to hang on and breathe normally. Itachi was surprised at how she had survived that attack with the blade inside of her body and could feel some sort of a technique coming from Tsunade's body as he pulled the blade out with blood oozing from it. This time Tsunade let out a hellish scream that can be heard all over the forest as she unleashed her final Tekkenchue. Shizune watched as her face started changing colors with the use of her ultimate jutsu. This is something that none of us has ever seen before, and when she is using this, it will drain up most of her chakra. As Kisame observed the battle, he feels that this woman is something else altogether. Itachi Dono, be careful, if you get hit by Tsunade-sama's jutsu you are done for. You don't have much chakra left and if you continue fighting on, you might not survive for much longer, called Kisame. Don't worry Kisame-san, I will be fine. This is only just a little scratch, but I can still make a comeback here. I am not done yet, I still have a plan to finish her off, replied an exhausted Itachi. Despite the severe damage that Tsunade unleashed on him, Itachi is still in this battle. He was not about to be defeated that easily, especially after what he did to his own family. But as Jiraiya watched, he knows that Itachi has something else planned that could lead to Tsunade's demise. Thinking quickly, he made hand signs and called out, "Kochiyose no Jutsu." From the puff of smoke, a large, giant, red, gruff-looking toad appeared in front of him on the battlefield. As Kisame turned, he was shocked as everyone else was about the toad appearance. "Well, Jiraiya-sama, what did you call me out here for? You interrupted my afternoon tea time with the elders at Myobakuzen Mountain and now you want me to fight these weak little Akatsuki members that are in front of you? Boy, you got some nerve of not be able to handle these guys on your own, you pervert," boomed the giant toad. Jiraiya's sweat dropped at that remark from the red toad. "Gamabunta, you old fool, how many times must I tell you to stop calling me a pervert? I didn't summon you out here just to listen to your stupid jokes. Today I am putting Itachi-san out of our misery once and for all and he will answer for his crimes he committed in his own village. So are you ready, Gamabunta-sama? Let's get rid of these Akatsuki scums once and for all." Gamabunta was reluctant at first about fighting but he couldn't say no since this is the first time that he ever appeared in the real world. "All right, Jiraiya-sama, I will help you just this once to get rid of Itachi, but in return, you will get the honor of being tossed deep into the forest as punishment for your actions today. Now then, let me show you the true power of the toads." He then turned his attention towards Itachi while calling to Jiraiya, "Shall we show him the true meaning of being burned to oblivion?" "You betcha, Gamabunta. Now get ready, Uchiha Itachi, because this next move will stun you big time." Ninja art. Toad flame bombs. Soon a barrage of bombs were seen hurling towards the former protege as he begins to feel the fire scorching on his body. "This is bad, if I don't defeat Jiraiya now, I may not be able to get what is inside of Naruto Uzumaki. And if Sasuke continues to protect him, our plans will be ruined as a result," thought Itachi as he tosses a few explosive tags on nearby tress as a diversion, but Jiraiya sees through Itachi's tricks as he steps down from the giant toad while he gives him room to unleash the toad blade cut on Itachi Uchiha. Once Lord Gamabunta Oyabun pulled out his sword, he makes a quick jump while giving Itachi a big slash across his abdomen. At that moment, Itachi could feel blood coming out of his body after that sword slashed through his body like a knife through butter. As Itachi tries to catch his breath, he knows that he doesn't have a chance against the legendary Sannin now. Once Tsunade got back up on her feet, she uses her healing ability to clean the wounds that she got from Itachi earlier. Once her wounds are gone, She then reverts back to her old state since she doesn't seem to have any more chakra left in her body. Well, I guess they cannot continue the battle either. I think it's time we head back to the village and bring Naruto Uzumaki back in good condition," she said to them. Once everyone regrouped together, they continued down the path towards Konoha village, but before they left, they could see that Itachi and Kisame calling out to them, "This isn't over. Tsunade and Jiraiya. You may have defeated us for now, but rest assured, even if you do nurse Naruto back to health, we will be back to take what is rightfully ours. You haven't seen the last of the Akatsuki, but we will be back, and when we do, you will pay dearly for what you did to us. Oh, we will be back for you sooner than you think, and you won't be able to get what is inside of Naruto because he will be fully protected by the entire village. And as long as your brother Sasuke is there, he will be ready to kill you. We will give Sarutobi the full report, and once he gets it, he will know exactly how to deal with traitors like you, Itachi Uchiha," called Jiraiya. "Hold on right there, as I was telling you, Jiraiya, you still have to receive that punishment for interrupting my tea time with the Toad Elders," called Gamabunta. Jiraiya looked at the Toad with fear in his eyes and said, Now don't do this to me. I didn't mean to interrupt you, sir. I only called you out here to protect Lady Tsunade, that's all. I will be sure to keep in touch with you if I need help, hee. Gamabunta could see that Jiraiya was getting nervous and shouted, "Too late for that. You are already in serious trouble, don't make it worse." "Can't we just talk about this?" protested Jiraiya. "I am done talking with you," said Gamabunta as he grabbed Jiraiya by the waist with his tongue and tossed him deep into the forest, causing most of the leaves to fall off from the branches. He then crashed to the ground while moaning in pain. "Man, I've never felt so happy tossing someone far into the forest. Despite the trouble you caused, I will let you off with a slap on the wrist this time. See you later, you old coot." And with that, he disappeared in a puff of smoke while Shizune and Sakura laughed at what just happened. Tsunade on the other hand thought to herself, "I knew that something like this was bound to happen to the old fool sooner or later. Nice landing, Jiraiya." "Yeah, very funny. Come over here and help me up," shouted Jiraiya angrily. As Akatsuki disappeared into a puff of smoke, Sakura knows that they will be back. She wondered how this battle would affect Naruto's well-being since he cannot be protected for very long. With the disappearance of the Akatsuki, Jiraiya and Tsunade now knows that they pose a serious threat to all the villages since they are after all the tailed beasts and would not stop until every last one of them is captured. But nonetheless, Naruto will be out of danger soon, and soon, he will be told the exact truth of Itachi Uchiha's true intentions since he has showed his true colors. On the way back, Tsunade took one last look at the report and knows what she has to do to keep the Akatsuki away from Naruto Uzumaki. "Master Jiraiya, I was wondering, if this kid has the Uchiha clan bloodline, why did Itachi adopt him anyway?" asked Shizune. "Well, to be honest, Sarutobi-sama requested to have the Uchiha clan make Naruto a valuable asset to them so that he can fight off against the Akatsuki sign. They all possess the Sharingan. Since Itachi has the advanced version of the Sharingan, he wanted the world to know him and to let them feel the pain and suffering. I don't know how he got Naruto involved in this whole family affair, but the only reason for him to adopt Naruto was to get his family out of the picture in order for him to make his escape." Jiraiya replied with a look of despair in his eyes. "I think that the only reason Itachi adopted the kid was to show him the actual use of the Sharingan. He didn't teach him any tricks behind it after the murders took place. If this the web that he is weaving right now, what else is he capable of doing? As far as you all know, someone else could fall victim to Itachi's Tsukuyomi and that would make him even more dangerous. I don't think Sarutobi should take the blame because he knows Naruto didn't want to be a part of Itachi's dirty little scheme," sighed Tsunade. "So you are saying that Itachi Uchiha had this whole thing planned all along? Damn it. Also, we do need to interrogate Sasuke and find out what his brother was up to the night his parents were killed. If Naruto wakes up from this nightmare, we can ask him who really planned to slaughter the Uchiha clan," continued Jiraiya. "Exactly, we need to piece it all together so that we can expose Itachi for the traitor he really is," finished Tsunade. The gang was more than halfway into Konoha after that little fiasco with Itachi and Kisame. But as Tsunade looked up in the clouds, she starts to think about everything that has happened so far despite the injuries she suffered. But she was still willing to defend everything that is precious to her. But things are starting to look brighter for her now since the healing process will begin shortly. The Hokage was expecting her arrival to Konoha in order to restore peace among the village and put a stop to the Akatsuki's plans one and for all.
Back in the village of Konoha, things are starting to get back to normal after the Uchiha clan massacre, and although everyone has been affected by the tragedy, Sasuke was still trying to cope with the loss of his parents after his brother went on a killing spree, but he vows to restore his clan one way or another.
In the underground facility, Sasuke placed the memorial statues of his father and mother on the shrine and said, "Mother, father, if you can hear me, despite what my brother had done here, it seemed like he hated this whole village from the beginning and he feels that we did something to provoke him. I am already working on taking good care of Naruto Uzumaki, but forgive me if I try to go against your wishes. I am going to enlist some help from someone that can defeat my brother once and for all. May you guys rest in peace. I will always think of you forever." He then leaves the underground facility and heads over to the training field to do some hand-to-hand combat skills. But as he began, he feels that someone was watching him from the treetops and said, "You must be one of Guy-sensei's students, Rock Lee, right? I presume that you are here to train with me in order to get yourself stronger? So I see that you recognize me, and yes, I am here to train just like you. I've heard about what happened to Naruto just a few weeks ago. I don't want to get involved in your family business, but I will do what I can to keep the kid safe. My teammates are already working on getting themselves stronger. Neji Hyuga already knows about the extent of Naruto's wounds, but he wants to send you this message telling you that your former brother will get the ultimate punishment for what he did to your family," replied Lee. "Thank you, Lee. I will be sure to deliver the message to the third Hokage as soon as possible. But you know what I want? I want my former brother to be executed for murder because I want to see him suffer the same fate. Once he is out of the way, I can avenge my family," said Sasuke hopefully. He then turned his attention towards Lee and begins battling him one-on-one for practice. Elsewhere, as Kiba was walking his dog, Akamaru, at the Konoha forest, he starts to worry about Naruto's well-being, including his safety. "Gosh, Akamaru. A lot of things have happened around here after the chaotic events at Sasuke's house. Do you think that Naruto will be okay?" "Arf, arf," barked Akamaru. Translation: "Yes, he will be fine." Kiba then smiled at his dog for showing his concern, however he was thinking about how to help Naruto with the healing process. "If Naruto is out of action, I won't be able to do any training with him. What's happened to you, bro? How did you end up in this kind of situation? I know you are in a lot of pain right now, but with a family member slaughtering his loved ones, that's just not right. But mark my words, I won't let anything happen to you, dude." He then resumed his training in the forest while Hinata and Shino watched. "Hinata, are you thinking about Naruto right now?" asked Shino. "Well, yes. Actually, I was hoping that there will be a miracle soon for Naruto. You see, Shino-kun, I also care about the boy's safety, but with the damage that's been done here, there is nothing that can be done to undo it," said Hinata sadly. "I can understand how you feel right now, but I feel that it is necessary to give Naruto some time off from combat since he hasn't regained full strength yet. Although my father knows nothing about what happened to Sasuke's family, he requires that Naruto to be in good shape if he is to be interrogated," replied Shino. Hinata thought it over for a while, but she was still hoping that Naruto can survive long enough to keep him alive. Meanwhile, back at the gates of Konoha, the guards were talking amongst themselves when they see someone arriving inside the village. "Who is that girl? I've never seen her before," said Izumo. "That woman next to her must be the healer. She seems to the one that the third Hokage wanted Jiraiya to find," said Koketsu. As Tsunade walked into Konoha, she sees that everything was still the same and nothing has changed much. "So this is Konoha, huh? It still looks the same when I left the place. I just hope that everyone around here will be happy to see me home again. Shizune, take me to see the Hokage. We need to deliver our report to him on what we have learned about Itachi Uchiha." "Yes ma'am, right away," said Shizune as she escorted him to the Hokage tower with the two guards following her, including Jiraiya. Back in the office, Sarutobi was busy with some paperwork when he heard a knock at the door. "Come in." The guard entered the door and said, "Lord Hokage, Jiraiya has brought Tsunade back from Tanzaku town, and she wants to see you immediately since she found something new about Itachi and his disappearance." "Okay. Send her in, thank you for the update. You can go back to your post now," said the Hokage to the guard. As Tsunade walked in, She seems happy to see the old man again. It's been a while, Master Sarutobi. How have you been? She asked him. Ah, I've been good, but still I am thinking about retiring as Hokage and letting you take that position. Now that you have returned, Tsunade-sama, what did you find out about Itachi? He asked. Well, to start off with, we met with Itachi Uchiha and Kisame Hoshigaki in the outskirts of Tanzaku town. It appears that they are now part of a mysterious criminal organization known as the Akatsuki. They plan to capture all the tailed beasts in order to plan something big for all the villages. Also, I think Naruto is being targeted by Itachi because of what he has in his body. They plan to steal it from him, and this could spell trouble for the village of Konoha, said Tsunade. Ah, I see, so you met up with the S-class criminal already. Yes, I know all about what is inside of Naruto. The whole village has been shunning him because of the demon inside of him. However, when I put him up for adoption with the Uchiha clan, Itachi slowly started to see him as a part of his family, but things started to deteriorate from there. I never knew that Itachi would turn from a loving brother into a mass murderer. However, we do need to interrogate Sasuke since he knows about his former brother's criminal activities. Also, when Naruto gets up from his unconscious state, we can ask him who really murdered the Uchiha family, said Sarutobi. Just as I thought, the village hates Naruto because of the monster inside of him. I never knew that he'd be mistreated like this. First Sasuke's family was murdered, and now this. I always thought Naruto should have been seen as a hero or something, but now I don't even know what to say to all the citizens of this village now. Speaking of our little hero, is he in the hospital still? Asked Tsunade. Yeah, he is still there. The medical staff will show you where his room is and will tell you of the injuries he sustained from Itachi Uchiha. He hasn't woken up since your arrival. I think you should get over there and help him out, continued the Hokage. Right, that poor thing must have been waiting for me forever for my return. Let's go, Shizune. Time to pay Naruto Uzumaki a little visit. Oh, and Sarutobi-sensei. Can you please check to see if Shikaku is already at the hospital? Well, okay. But I think Shikaku should be somewhere on the ranch near his home right now. My guess he is still asleep at the moment, replied the Hokage. All right, but it's actually important that I see him because there is something I need to discuss with him, replied Tsunade as she walked out of the office with Shizune following close behind her. She then gave the Hokage a warm smile and a thumbs up for taking such good care of Naruto while she was away. The Hokage smiled back knowing that the boy is in good hands now. Back at the Nara residence, Shikamaru Nara was busy feeding the deers while his father was doing his usual training. It seems boring for them to do this day and night, but they had to do it. Sometimes I wonder if we would ever get a break from duty. And with everything that has happened around here, it's been troublesome for all of us, said Shikamaru. Yeah, I know what you mean, son. Naruto suffered the harsh treatment that this village has given him. I don't know if everyone will ever show him the respect he deserves. I can't believe he has to go through such a troubling situation like this. When I saw him at a nearby restaurant a few weeks ago, he vowed to make sure that Itachi wouldn't harm the people that he loves, but now, before he could finish his sentence, he notices a tall blonde woman along with her assistant arriving. But now, I need your help to help with Naruto's healing process, Shikaku, said the woman while approaching the ranch. Hey Dad, do you know that girl over there? Asked Shikamaru. Of course I know her. She is one of the legendary Sannin and a medical shinobi called Tsunade. She has come to lend a helping hand for Naruto, replied Shikaku as he approached Tsunade to greet her. It's been a while, Tsunade-sama. I see you are still as sharp looking as ever. Yeah, well, that's one of the perks of being a medical ninja. I see that the deers are looking healthy as ever. You raised them really well, I must say, said Tsunade with a nervous smile. Oh yes, the deer are fine. Now what can I help you with, Tsunade-sama? Asked Shikaku. We should head over to the hospital and try to cure Naruto of his injuries. He still has the Tsukuyomi affecting him, replied Tsunade. All right then Tsunade. I want to see just how much your medical skills have improved since your return to Konoha village. Finished Shikaku as he followed her to the hospital with Shizune close behind. As the gang arrives at the hospital, the medical staff was relieved to see Tsunade approaching them. It's been a while, Tsunade-sama. We've been waiting for your arrival, said the medical team. Likewise, gentlemen. Now that I am here, what is the status of Naruto's condition? Asked Tsunade. Well, So far, Naruto's tests are fine, he's responded well to medication, but he still hasn't woken up yet. That technique that Itachi left behind, began the medical staff. Yes, I already saw the report at the Hokage's office about Itachi's Tsukuyomi effect. Can you bring me in to see Naruto? She asked them. Of course, right this way ma'am, they said as they lead him right into the recovering wing and into the first room on the left. Once she entered the room along with Shizune and Shikaku, she could also see Sasuke next to Naruto's bedside. So, Sasuke, this is the Naruto Uzumaki that everyone was talking about, right? Yep, that's right. You must be Tsunade, the legendary medical ninja and Sannin. It's nice to finally meet you at last, replied Sasuke as he shook her hand. Tsunade then walked over to Naruto's bedside and asked, "Can I take a look at him?" Of course, Tsunade-sama. However, I don't know if he will ever wake up from the effect of Tsukuyomi, said Sasuke. Don't worry, Sasuke. I think I have a way of reversing the effects of this technique that you speak of. These lacerations on his body, they were from Itachi, right? Continued Tsunade. Yeah, all these wounds inflicted on him were from my former brother Itachi Uchiha. Please, I beg of you, do what you can to save Naruto. I don't want him to suffer any more pain, said Sasuke nervously. Relax, Sasuke. Naruto will be just fine as long as I am here. Finished Tsunade as she placed her hand on Naruto's head. Soon a small green glow appeared on her hand as the healing process began. Sasuke immediately held onto Naruto's hand while Tsunade continues the healing. As Shikaku watched, he seems amazed at Tsunade's medical skills after her arrival. Just then Sakura Haruno arrived and sees Tsunade working on healing Naruto. I got here just in time, Sasuke. She then closed the door slowly behind her and took a seat next to her best friend. A few minutes later, the glow disappeared as the medical shinobi finished with removing Tsukuyomi from Naruto's head. She then turned towards Shikaku and asked, "How long has this technique been affecting him?" Well, given the condition he is in, the technique has been affecting him for almost a couple of days now. He also has some broken bones when he was brought in here. But, the medical staff told me that his head was suffering the most amount of pain. Tsunade-sama, replied Shikaku. Wow, I see. But to tell you the truth, I've never seen this kid sustaining so much damage to his own body. What the hell did Itachi do to him? Although I was able to stop the Tsukuyomi from doing further damage to Naruto's brain cells, he should be able to wake up from this soon enough. However, my diagnosis of Naruto will have some heartbreaking consequences since most of his bones in his body are broken. I cannot heal them unless I perform surgery on him. His chances of survival are only 50% at best. This will take a long time. I am sorry everyone. I did the best I could, replied Tsunade. Everyone in the room was devastated to hear the heartbreaking news about Naruto's survival rate being less than 100%, especially Sasuke and Sakura. Are you serious, Tsunade-sama? Please tell me you are joking. If Naruto goes through this operation, he might not have the strength to fight, protested Sasuke. I am really not joking, and yes, this is true. If the operation isn't successful, his chances of recovery will be looking very slim, finished Tsunade. But before she could leave the room, Naruto opens his eyes slowly and waved. Wait a minute, Grandma Tsunade. Don't leave just yet. I need to talk to you. He slowly tries to get up from bed, but the injuries are preventing him from doing so. Naruto. Oh, thank God you are awake. Are you all right? Asked Sakura. I think so. But where am I? What's happened to me and why am I wrapped up in bandages? He was a bit confused about how he ended up in the hospital. Soon, Shikaku sat down on Naruto's bedside and said to him, Naruto-san, thank goodness that you were awake. You had us all worried, buddy. You are currently in the hospital. Kakashi-sensei brought you in here after you were knocked unconscious by that lunatic Itachi Uchiha. Your wounds are not fully healed yet, but Tsunade here has some grave news to tell you. Tsunade then took a seat on a chair next to Naruto's bed and said, I am glad that you are awake, sweetie. But I am afraid that your injuries are becoming worse, not better. You still have several broken bones in your body that are not fully healed yet. I hate to bring you bad news, but in order for your body to completely heal, you need to have an operation. If this surgery is not successful, you will only have a 50% chance of survival at best. You shouldn't try to get out of bed yet because you need to let your injuries heal for a while, and I am afraid that you won't be able to participate in any ninja training for a while. But I must admit, you are lucky to be alive. I am actually surprised that you survived the brutal attack from that Itachi guy. Naruto looked at her with a smile on his face but was unable to cope with the fact that he needed surgery. He knew that the thought of having this critical operation would end his ninja career for good, but he wasn't about to give up on that. Thinking quickly, he grabbed a nearby chair and slowly got out of bed. I need some time to think about this, Tsunade Ba-chan. I understand what you are saying, but you must know, I won't give up my career of becoming Hokage, and if this is the path I must take, then so be it. He then walked out of the room and dashed outside towards the streets. With tears in his eyes, he now knows that his life could be in serious jeopardy if he is not completely healed. What has happened to me? Why am I always being a victim of brutality? Why does everyone want to inflict so much pain on me? Is this what my whole life has been like? It's just not fair. I should have stopped Itachi sooner and saved Sasuke's parents from being killed, but I couldn't do anything. As Shikaku looked out the window, he could see Naruto running away from the hospital and onto the streets of Konoha. He knows that Naruto isn't taking this news so well after Tsunade's arrival. However, Naruto needs some support and cheering up from his friends and the people that cares about him. As he walked out of the hospital, he turned to Tsunade and said, I really wish that there was some other way we could comfort him, but now he's having a really hard time accepting it. I know that, Shikaku. But you must understand, he hasn't been himself lately after the incident at Sasuke's home. I can understand what that boy has gone through, but he needs some time to cope with the losses. He's been through a lot lately and I just can't see the thought of letting him suffer a world of hurt. However, he has a long recovery ahead of him and it could impact his career as a shinobi of Konoha village. Finished Tsunade. The man looked at her with a smile as he heads outside to find Naruto with hopes of making him feel better. The surgery will help heal the damage done inside of his body and the recovery process, but he also has to go through months of physical therapy immediately after the operation. Meanwhile, at the nearby gazebo, Naruto sat down on the bench and thought about all the good times that he had with Itachi's family and the time he spent with them. So this my feeling of what it's like to have a family to love you. He also starts thinking about the times he spends with the clan heads. Is this what it feels like to have people to always be there for you? The thought of Itachi Uchiha defecting from Konoha village leaves Naruto stunned and with unanswered questions. However, he knows that the former brother he once knew will be back to finish him off and take the monster out of him in order to save Konoha, a home that he once loved and cherished. But Naruto still has other things on his mind, especially about starting up in the academy and wanting to find out the truth about why Itachi committed this act of terror in his own home. Despite Naruto being all alone without a family to look after him, he was still having a hard time coping with it. But with his two best friends Sasuke and Sakura, including the Hokage and Iruka, he didn't feel alone. As Naruto reflects back on what happened that night in the compound, he starts to think about what Itachi said to him. Flashback. No, Itachi-san. Don't do it. Spare your family and let them go. Don't harm them, shouted Naruto. But Itachi didn't hear him as he picked up his sword and took a mighty swing before slashing his father to death. No, Fugaku-san. Not you. You didn't deserve to die, but I will avenge you one way or another, shouted Naruto. What are you going to do, Naruto? That old fool is already dead, and if you don't keep quiet, you will be my next victim. Hee. Now I suggest that you keep quiet if you want your life spared, replied Itachi with an evil glint on his face. You monster, you good-for-nothing bastard, you are no brother of mine. I won't let you get away with this, wailed Naruto with tears in his eyes as the guards continued beating him down. But Itachi wasn't feeling threatened by the boy's pathetic insults as he picked up his sword again. Throw all the threats you want at me, you little insect. It's not going to change anything. Your new family has been getting in my way and there is no way you can save them now. Just relax and I will be over to finish you off soon, said Itachi as he took a few slashes on his mother and butchered her up. With a shocked look, Naruto could see blood spatter everywhere and body parts lying on the floor. Tayaki-ba-san. No, why did you have to fall victim to Itachi? Why? He wailed as Itachi noticed the pounding from his fists on the floor as more tears came out of his eyes. As he tried to get up, he could see Itachi Uchiha moving towards him. As the man picked up the child, He holds him against the wall and said, "Foolish little stepbrother, I've already taken out the people that you love and you don't have sufficient strength to stop me. If you want to kill me, you have to get yourself stronger, and I sense that the monster inside of you is growing weak, but I will be back to claim it for myself. Also, before I take my leave, here is my parting gift for you." He then activated his Sharingan as he unleashed a powerful technique on the child's head, causing him to be knocked out cold. He then tossed the boy on the ground and left in a puff of smoke. End flashback. Naruto tried to avoid thinking about that dangerous Tsukuyomi technique with the potential fear that his brother Sasuke might become Itachi's next victim. He knows that the Anbu guards will be interrogating his brother about where he was on the night his parents were murdered and who carried out the killings. But despite his strength being less than 100%, he still needed time for recovery. As he sat down on the bench, he looks up at the night sky as the images of Fugaku and Tayaki suddenly appeared in front of him. He then showed his smile towards them, but as he did that, more tears came out of his eyes as the family he once knew were taken away in an instant. But no matter how upset he was, he must stay strong in order to pull himself through this nightmare. Soon, a human figure appeared out of the darkness and asked, "What are you doing out here all by yourself, Naruto-san? And why the long face? Are you okay?" Naruto then turned his face towards the human in the shadow and asked, "Who's there? Come on out and show yourself," he said. As the figure approached towards the kid, he then sat down next to him and said, "It's only me, the leader of the Nara clan. I need to talk to you immediately. Now I know this might be troublesome news for you, but you need to go through his operation if you want to have a chance at a speedy recovery. I can understand that you are upset about everything that has happened, but you have to take things slow and steady, okay? Tsunade-sama already knows about Itachi's defection from Konoha, including the Hokage himself. We are all doing everything we can to see that this criminal be brought to justice. Sasuke already told you that he will kill Itachi to avenge his family, so you don't have to be burdened by this and you are not responsible for what happened to your brother's parents. I know that, Mr. Shikaku, but all this pain that I've endured for the past few weeks makes my whole body unwell. You know, sometimes I do wish this didn't happen to me, but then, you already know how painful this is for me, right? I just miss all the good times I've had with Sasuke's parents during the time I spent with them. Also, are you sure that this surgery will help me at all? I don't know if I can go through with this since I've never actually had an operation done on me before," replied Naruto with a nervous look on his face. Shikaku looked at him for a moment and sighed. "Listen, Naruto, I know how hard this must be for you, but you can do this, I swear to it. We are all doing our best to help you get through this pain and suffering. Take my word for it, if your surgery is successful, you will be able to regain your strength back with no problems. Not to mention, your career as a shinobi will not go to waste. I can promise you that right now. No matter what happens to you, I can guarantee that you will make it through with no problems." Yeah, Shikaku is right, Naruto. You should definitely go through with this surgery. When Tsunade told me about your chances of survival looking this slim, I didn't know what to say, but everyone in the village is stunned by this heartbreaking news, including your friends. Now I know you've been through a lot, but this surgery is your last hope to save your life if you want your body back to normal," said Sume as she sat down next to Naruto. Naruto looked at her and said, "Are you sure of that? If I don't make it through this, what's going to happen to me? Do you really think we would be playing a joke on you? You were found unconscious in Sasuke's home and the medical staff almost pronounced you dead. We thought you wouldn't make it out of there alive. But you were lucky to have survived that vicious attack. I am so sorry that you had to go through something like this. Itachi is a monster for all we know. He couldn't care about his family's well-being, so he decides to take his anger out on his own home and," began Sume. "And he would kill anyone that stands in his way. I get it, okay? I just wish Itachi would see things in a different light, you know? I can't believe he would just ruin me and my family's life. Fugaku and Tayaki Uchiha were everything to Sasuke and to me. They were very nice people who lived a normal life in Konoha. I just miss them so much and I know Sasuke will think about them a lot too," replied Naruto. He always talked about how he wanted to become the #1 shinobi to surpass Itachi, including being successful at performing powerful techniques to take his former brother down, and I don't blame him. But I must admit, I do feel kind of sorry for that guy who's been a loner like me. Sume and Shikaku watched as Naruto grabbed onto one of the tower columns while he looked at the night sky. "Why did it have to be your family to suffer a horrible death, Sasuke? They never did anything wrong and they always looked up to you and cared about you a lot. Soon, his voice was starting to break up as he punched the tower column. Damn you, Itachi. It's just not fair. Why did you kill the ones that you loved the most, huh? Do you really think killing innocent people will make you stronger? At that moment, the Nara and Inuzuka clan heirs understood about why he was so upset and decided to comfort him for a while. Naruto then turned and asked them, Ms. Sume, Mr. Shikaku, why do I keep losing people that are important to me? Do you have any idea what that feels like? Why do families have to sacrifice their own lives to save their children? Please tell me the truth because this nightmare is going to haunt me for the rest of my life, wailed Naruto. Soon, the child could feel that he was being embraced by Sume because she was able to understand how Naruto felt after his loss while Shikaku handed him a Kleenex. I know how you feel, Naruto, but it's all right. None of this is your fault. But you must know that sometimes people have to sacrifice themselves because it's their duty to pass on their will of fire to their sons and daughters because it is their time to inherit it now. Those who have their goals and dreams, but everyone has something important as those, including mothers and fathers, siblings, and friends that are important to you. Also the bonds between the people are also important to you ever since birth. When people like Sasuke's parents are gone, their past, current lifestyle, and their future disappear along with them. This goes beyond reason because it's important. Now do you understand why I am telling you this? Naruto wiped away his tears and sniffled, yeah, I do understand. But it's been too painful for me to see Sasuke's beloved parents die so soon, especially when I was given the news about having surgery done. Now when I complained that I wouldn't be able to make it through this, you've taught me the importance of believing in myself. But no matter how hard this operation is or even if you do have faith in me that I will pull through, it doesn't look like it's going to help me that much. Please tell me, why am I the only one that's turned out like this? Shikaku looked at him for a moment and said, Naruto, for a child like you that puts in so much effort and strength, the operation will definitely succeed for sure. I've told you that success will open, but if anything troublesome happens, we will be right there to fix it. When Sume and I met you for the first time, our purpose here was to make sure you become a great ninja of Konoha village, and that's a promise, my boy. He then placed his hand on Naruto's shoulder as a sign of comfort and smiled at him. Are you certain that my operation will be successful enough to increase my chances of survival? Asked Naruto as he was nearing tears again. Naruto, there is no doubt in my mind that this surgery will be a success, and if there is even the slightest 1 out of 100th, no, 10 out of 1000th chance that something goes wrong, we will be right there with you to offer our support. And I promise, we're with you all the way no matter what happens to you, buddy boy. Finished Shikaku. At that moment, Naruto couldn't bear to hold his tears any longer as he buried his face right onto Sume and cried. Sume Ba-san. Mr. Shikaku. Thank you, both, so much for believing in me. I am just in too much pain right now, I couldn't take it anymore. I do appreciate you both for being there for me. He could then feel Shikaku's hand on his head while Kiba's mother continued hugging him. Thank you for being such great families, finished Naruto. But even so, his final narration was this. Now that I know what the meaning of life was, I now hope that this operation will be a success for me, but I am just glad to have people care about me the most. Please forgive me for all the trouble that I caused you, Sasuke Uchiha. And now, I am finally going to be saved from all this pain and suffering that I endured. I want to thank Sasuke's parents for being there for me when I needed the most. Even though the memories of Fugaku and Tayaki Uchiha may have faded for now, Naruto will never forget their kindness that they've given to him during the time he spent together with them. As he cherishes the memories of his former parents within his heart, he starts preparing for this surgery that could change his life, forever. Elsewhere, the Hokage looks in his crystal ball and smiled. It's so nice to see that Naruto will pull through this difficult obstacle. That poor thing, he always gets hungry for a miracle now. But I am glad that he now has people to look after him. What do you think, Tsunade-sama? Yeah, I agree, but Naruto has a long road to recovery ahead of him. I will do what I can to increase the surgery's success rate. But who knows? Maybe that kid will be respected by his own people in Konoha, replied Tsunade. And so, Naruto now prepares for the most crucial operation that could change his life and his way of becoming Hokage. As the sun starts to fade, he was carried back to the hospital with the help of Sume Inuzuka while thinking about his recovery process. But one thing is for certain, Itachi Uchiha is still a wanted criminal, and if he is found, he will be executed for murder. As the village reels from what happened here, security has been tightened so that no intruders can come in here. But soon everything will change, forever. Naruto did take it easy for a few days before his scheduled surgery at the hospital. So, by the next morning, he decided to take a walk in the streets, hoping to regain his strength and trying to ease up on pain. Although he wasn't fully recovered yet, he was still able to move around the village without hurting himself. After his conversation with Sume and Shikaku last night, the child was able to finally understand the meaning of life and death, and gradually, he began to accept the fate that dealt a cruel hand within his own village. But the thought of, "get over it," would not help with the healing process. The boy knows that Itachi should apologize for hurting his own family, and then he can forgive him. But despite Itachi defecting from his home and not admitting guilt, he wouldn't even dream of giving that lunatic another chance. As Naruto walked down on the streets, he could notice the villagers eyeing him, and they wondered how he had gotten those injuries, but in his mind, they still hate him for having that monster inside of him, so he paid no attention to them. But the fact is, with him still in bad shape, he wasn't worried at all. However, he had a lot of scars after that brutal assault by Itachi, but that doesn't matter to him now since they are taking a while to heal. But he also knows that Sasuke is expecting him to be at his family's funeral, because Sasuke will need to give a speech about his parents' lifestyle and what they did for the village. This is an emotional time for the entire village of Konoha right now since the Uchiha clan massacre, especially for our two brothers that were heavily affected by this tragedy. Elsewhere, the Hokage was scratching his head after the tragedy that had befallen here not too long ago. As he turned to outside his office, he knows that today was the funeral of Fugaku and Tayaki Uchiha and many other members of the Uchiha clan that died in the massacre. As the villagers arrived at the site, many of them are paying tribute to those who died, including Naruto and Sasuke. Also present was Shikaku Nara, Sume Inuzuka, Choza Akamichi, and Inoichi Yamanaka, among other people who were paying their respects for a family that dedicated their lives here in Konoha. "Your parents were very good people and they took really good care of you, Sasuke," said Naruto while trying to wipe a tear from his eye. "Yeah, they certainly did, my brother. This is a very difficult time for all of us after what happened here. My family meant everything to me and they did a lot of special things with me that my former brother couldn't have time to do. Sure, I may not have been the brightest son in this village, but my parents couldn't be more proud of me than they were of you. We both worked hard enough to please them, but still, it's going to be harder for both of us to get through this, but no matter what happens, we will take it one step at a time, all right?" said Sasuke while hugging his brother Naruto. Naruto couldn't give an answer, but he nodded his head as they both stepped forward towards the podium in front of them that overlooks the gravestones of those that died. Just then, the Hokage arrives at the funeral site and sees Homura and Kaharu there already, so, it's time to start the ceremony now. "I think it's time that I delivered a few words for everyone here." As he arrived at the podium, he then placed the microphone towards his mouth and said, "Thank you for coming to this funeral, everyone. We are gathered here today to remember our friends and family that perished in this tragic event. As we do, let's not forget how these people had touched our lives and the difference they made for this village. While we are mourning the loss of Sasuke's parents, Fugaku and Tayaki Uchiha, we shall pray to never forget them, but they were true friends and will be known as true shinobis of Konoha. Let's all take a moment of silence and pray that they will be in good spirits. May they rest in peace. Thank you." The Hokage then stepped down from the podium and ordered the guards to bring out the caskets containing the bodies of Fugaku and Tayaki Uchiha. Once the bodies arrived, Sasuke and Naruto rushed towards them with flowers in their hands as they prepared to say their final goodbyes to their beloved parents that they've known for such a long time. With tears in their eyes, both brothers hugged each other while holding onto the casket and wailed, "Why did you guys have to perish so soon? You were everything to us. We would not be here without you around, but we will miss you guys very much. We both love you a lot, so don't worry, Fugaku Tusan and Tayaki Ba-san. Your spirits will always be with us forever. We brothers will never forget you and what you did for this village." Once they finished, they placed flowers on the parents' caskets and bid them a final farewell before their bodies are cremated and buried in the cemetery here in the village. As Sasuke and Naruto stepped back, they allowed their close friends to lay flowers on the bodies and wished them a safe journey to heaven where they could rest in peace. But as Naruto looked back in the caskets and the bodies, He reminisces about the time he and Fugaku were enjoying time to themselves, like visiting friends, playing games together, going out to eat, and stargazing together. But Naruto will never forget the training that he did with Fugaku Uchiha in order to obtain the Sharingan, because if he wants to surpass Itachi, he has to get himself stronger and learn chakra control and other basic movements. But no matter what happens to him, Naruto must obtain true power in order to make himself stronger than Itachi Uchiha. Elsewhere, as Tsunade looked out the window, she could see raindrops on the ground outside. "Shizune, what is going on out there?" she asked her assistant. "It seems to me that a funeral is going on outside at the moment right now, Tsunade-sama. Everyone is paying tribute to Fugaku and Tayaki Uchiha, Sasuke's parents that died here not too long ago at the hands of Itachi Uchiha. Also, Naruto is also there at the funeral as well, since he wanted to say his final goodbye to a family that he never had in his life. I think Naruto's feeling down about what Sasuke has been going through ever since his former brother left this village, so he wants to do what he can to support him during this difficult time," replied Shizune. Even Tun seems to agree with her. Tsunade looked at her with a sad expression on her face and said, "I see, so it seems that everyone here is hell-bent on wanting this criminal captured and executed. But their so-called criminal organization, the Akatsuki, is still a mystery to us. Have you been able to find any new information about them?" she asked. "No, nothing so far on the Akatsuki, but their plan remains a mystery. However, we know that Itachi has a connection with their organization since he seems to know the members so well. However, their true goal is to capture all the tailed beasts from their hosts. And I have a suspicious feeling that Naruto does possess one of the tailed beasts, since he could be a target for the Akatsuki. Anyway, aside from that, how is Naruto's surgery success rate going?" asked Shizune. "Well, from these medical reports that I got from the staff at the hospital, it seems that his wounds were pretty much from moderate to severe on the outside. But looking at these broken bones in his body, I can say that his success rate is now up to 70%. He seems to be taking it easy for a few days and using antibiotics to help heal the scars on his body. I'm actually quite impressed that he could survive something like this. Not many people have that sort of ability to go through a terrible tragedy in this place," said Tsunade. "Well, Naruto was just lucky to be alive. If he wasn't, then we would have declared a state of emergency here in Konoha. But Naruto is really hoping for a miracle right now instead of tragedy and despair. If he waits any longer, he won't be able to have that miracle that he was hoping for," finished Shizune. "That's true, Shizune. But now I think my neck is getting stiff. If you will excuse me, I need to go get something from the Hokage's former office library so that Naruto can be cured of the pain." And she left the office right away while Shizune keeps an eye on things before the Hokage returns. Back at the funeral, Naruto and Sasuke looks up at the clouds and thinks back on Fugaku and Tayaki Uchiha while wiping the tears from their eyes. As they closed their eyes, they begin to pray for good things to happen to their parents and wishing them a safe journey to heaven while keeping their memories of Fugaku and Tayaki alive in their hearts. Although Sasuke has been planning this for a long time, he's always wanted to give his former brother a taste of his own medicine and show him the true meaning of Sharingan power when he returns home. Once the caskets were taken away, Sasuke and Naruto are now being called upon by the Hokage to carry the portraits of Fugaku and his wife. Once they arrived, the Anbu guards handed them the portraits while the townspeople took care of the caskets. As they arrived at the cremation site, both Naruto and Sasuke helped the townspeople move the caskets inside and were told to step back in order to allow the cremation ceremony to begin. As Sume and Shikaku watched while embracing Naruto, which in turn was hugging Sasuke and drying the tears from his eyes. Meanwhile, many friends of the Uchiha clan joined in as they watched the caskets being moved into the fire pits to allow the bodies to be completely burned out and their remains to be processed and laid to rest in the cemetery. Everyone was rambling words all at the same time while saying their final goodbyes to the family that made a difference in people's lives and helped to reshape the whole village. As Sasuke and Naruto wept, they will know that no matter how painful it is to lose a family they love, they will remain strong as ever. Once the cremation process was finished, the remains of Fugaku and Tayaki are now being buried at the Konoha Memorial Cemetery to honor them and the good they've done for this place. As the two brothers return to the funeral site, Sasuke decides to speak out about his family life. It was not about how his family died, it was about how they lived that made this village so special to them. Naruto was feeling heartbroken after what happened, but he didn't let it get to him. As he wiped away the tears from his eyes, Iruka decides to comfort him for a while as he took him back to the audience area. However, no one noticed that his eyes started to have 3 mysterious tomos embedded in them. Soon everyone took their seats as Sasuke took his position at the podium at the funeral with a piece of paper in his hand. Fellow citizens of Konoha, we are gathered here today to honor the loss of my family and my entire clan. They were everything to this village, not just me or Naruto. However, my parents were not meant to be used as a tool for death or darkness. They were the people that had earned the respect of everyone here. My father may have been tough on me at times, but it showed me that he cares a lot about me and that he loved me, and he pushed me to be the very best shinobi in Konoha. He also told me that even if I don't pass an exam, there will always be another chance for me to work even harder and surpass my brother Itachi. My parents always had high hopes for me and my brother Naruto. My father was a good man, and he would never harm anyone, and he never has set out to kill anyone that he never met before. And he always did his best to look after me and Naruto. My mother, on the other hand, was too kind-hearted and a sweet person that I loved so much. She always kept us in line and we did what we were told by her. My mother was also everything to me, just like my father, and we always would do something fun together as a family. We lead a perfectly normal life together as a family until Itachi Uchiha took it all away from us. How am I supposed to move on with my life without my mother and father? Everyone knows that a mother and father will always be there for you no matter what happens. And I will never forget them, never. Rest in peace, Fugaku and Taiyaki Uchiha, you will both be never forgotten. Once Sasuke finished the speech, everyone proceeded to lay flowers upon the gravestones of Sasuke's parents and paid their respects to them. As a distraught Naruto walked up to the gravestones, he laid down the flowers while Iruka helped to wipe his tears away. He then thinks about everything that he did with Sasuke's family, and he vowed to keep their memories alive inside of his heart forever. Sasuke has given a heartwarming speech on his parents, but I am certain that they didn't die for nothing, right, Iruka-sensei? He asked. That's what I was thinking too. They didn't die in vain, but they did leave something priceless behind, the village of Konoha. Their spirits will always be with us forever, and they will never be forgotten as long as all of us are here, Naruto. As I said before, when people die, everything that they had is gone, but it will never be forgotten. No matter how much pain you will feel, a hug will always make you feel better. You need time to grieve since Itachi left the village. Also, I know how hard this must be for you and Sasuke, but I can assure you, we will not give up if a family member has lost someone close to them. However, as their spirits remain in heaven, you will know that they will still love you and will be proud of you and Sasuke no matter what happens. If losing a parent is not something you can face alone, you have to take it one step at a time, okay? But first you need to get your body back to normal. That is the #1 priority here, said Iruka as he placed his hand on the boy's shoulder while hugging each other. As the rain continued falling in Konoha, everyone in the village knows that the heavens weep for those that died here. But Naruto and Sasuke can't keep crying about it since they know that tears won't help them, but they also know that no matter how painful the situation looked, it made them realize that their combined strength will only make them stronger. However, Naruto and Sasuke will have to work hard in order to protect their loved ones here, but it won't be an easy task since they will have to conquer a lot of obstacles and meet dangerous opponents along the way. Also, Naruto and Sasuke are both going to have to take a lot of tests and battle in order to meet their ultimate goal to becoming the #1 shinobi in all of Konoha. Once the rain cleared, everyone said their final goodbyes as things finally returned to normal after the deadly massacre. But the memory of it stayed. The compound where the murders occurred was almost completely damaged, but everything outside was still intact. Despite the losses, Sasuke and Naruto are planning to rebuild their lives after what happened here since they both know that Itachi will be coming back to finish what he started. However, the boys will be planning something big for Itachi to give him a warm welcome upon his arrival. But Sasuke has vowed to restore his clan and kill the so-called former brother, so that he can avenge his parents and become Itachi's new successor. Although Naruto had already gotten the mysterious power that everyone talked about, he then thinks to himself, Fugaku Uchiha told me to use this power to protect those that I love, not to kill people, but the only thing I did was cause pain and suffering to everyone else around me. How am I going to face Sasuke after this? First I have to go through this surgery, and then a new mysterious power has been planted inside of me. And now Itachi. God. Why does every bad thing have to happen to me? Once the funeral was over, Naruto and the others returned to their normal lives as everyone else returned to their duties in Konoha. Although Naruto hasn't seen the last of Itachi Uchiha, he knows that this isn't over, and as long as he is under the protection of Sasuke and the entire village, Itachi wouldn't be able to stand a chance now. But the thought of seeing the return of that monster only infuriates the entire village, but even so, Konoha needs to tighten security long enough in order to keep the place danger-free and minimize casualties. But with the Akatsuki threat at an all-time high, the village doesn't seem to be out of the danger zone yet, and Naruto hasn't fully recovered from his wounds yet. Furthermore, everyone in the village seems on high alert now. As the sun came up, Naruto and Sasuke looked at the buildings around them and said, "It sure is peaceful here after the nightmare that occurred here not too long ago, right Sasuke?" he asked. "Yeah, it does get peaceful around here now, but don't get too comfortable, little bro. There are many more dangerous opponents out there that are still waiting for us, so we both have to do our best if we want to succeed and fulfill our goal to take down that madman that joined the Akatsuki. However, before you are able to fight again, you still need to get your operation taken care of. But don't worry, we will guarantee that you will pull through this," said Sasuke as he placed his hand on Naruto's shoulder as a sign of comfort. "Thanks for the words of encouragement, Sasuke-ne-san. I really appreciate it. I am glad that you could help me go through this very difficult time that we both are having together," replied Naruto. "Anytime, Naruto. That's what brothers are supposed to do. They are supposed to look out for one another and support them if needed. I am just glad to have met you. You are my best friend and nothing will take that away from us, especially not some maniacal killer who is not of this village. However, you cannot blame yourself for what happened to my family, and you are not responsible for their deaths. Now, I know how upset you are right now, but you need to take it easy. This surgery is very important to you, and if you don't go through it, your chances of survival will be very limited. As your big brother, it's time you take the first step towards recovery. Now go to it, buddy," replied Sasuke as he took Naruto back to the hospital while jumping from building to building in Konoha as the sun begins to set. Meanwhile, back in the Hokage's office, the Hokage was busy working on plans to figure out how to bring Itachi back in here to answer for his crimes when he heard a knock at the door. "Come in," called the Hokage. As the door opened, one of the Anbu guards entered the room and asked, "Sir, request permission for us to interrogate the last surviving member of the Uchiha clan since he seems to have witnessed everything that has happened so far in Konoha. He was the only person present during the murders, so I think he might know what Itachi had been doing on the night of the murder. If we can get a statement from Sasuke, we might be able to nail down the culprit and whoever else was involved in the murders." "Are you sure? I don't want Naruto to get involved in this mess, but go right ahead with the interrogation of Sasuke. He seems to be very close to Naruto than he is to Sasuke. But somehow, I don't think they even supported the protege because he has become a bigger threat than before. I feel that this could complicate things even further if Naruto becomes a target of your investigation. Even now, everyone is worried about Uzumaki Naruto after the recent events here, but tread lightly, okay? I don't want to jeopardize the lives of two young ninja that are in desperate need of help. However, Sasuke should be at the hospital about now since I saw him carry Naruto there," finished the Hokage. "Right away, sir. But we really hope Naruto will pull through this fiasco. After all, he is just like you. And besides, Sasuke always seems to be able to fill the empty void inside someone that is close to him," replied the Anbu as he disappears from the office in an instant. As the Hokage leaned back on his chair, he decided to contact the council members and tell them to bring the clan heads in here immediately so that Sasuke can tell them exactly what happened that night in order to find out who exactly perpetrated this heinous act and why. He was also suspicious of those two bodyguards that worked for Itachi on the night of the murder, so they needed to be questioned as well. Moments later, Tsunade arrived at the Hokage's office and asked, "Are you sure that you want to interrogate Sasuke? If he is actually behind the murders of his family, then we are looking at him as an accomplice. We cannot allow him to be framed for murder. I hope your decision wasn't too hasty, Sarutobi-sama, because I don't want you to jump the gun here," she said with a worried look on her face. The Hokage looked at her for a moment and said, "I can understand what you are saying, okay? Stop beating around the bush. Do you really think that Sasuke would be capable of killing his own family? His former brother demonized him and did the killings to make it look like a suicide. But somehow, Itachi managed to cover his tracks when he left the village, so I am hoping that Sasuke is not a killer. We are only doing this to clear his name and prevent him from being incarcerated at the correctional facility. We do not wish to allow Sasuke to endure any more pain, and the same shall apply to Naruto as well. You realize that with two brothers' lives on the line, we cannot guarantee their safety? This entire village is in an uproar right now, and we are all upset and angered over Itachi's killing spree, but that doesn't help change anything for us now. And you know how Sasuke and Naruto both feel about this, because they just want this whole nightmare to be over. And He then paused for a moment to wipe the sweat from his forehead and then rubbed his head to avoid a splitting headache. Tsunade looked at her former teacher and said, "Sarutobi-sensei, are you all right? You seem to be very worried about Naruto the most, right? But let me tell you something, I despise Itachi more than what this whole village has to offer. Believe me, I am already in a state of shock. However, as you said, we can only hope for a miracle in Konoha right now. I am also worried about the two boys because all their life, they've been thinking about having a family to look after them, but it never did happen for them, did it? I know what they are going through right now, because when Naruto was little, he was always looked down by people and mistreated because of that mysterious monster inside of him. Now we got Sasuke without a family either. Now, this is not what the village had in store for the boys, but those two deserve justice and closure too, Sarutobi-sensei. I do have a feeling that if we want to see justice done, Sasuke should be the one to do it, since he knows that this is personal," she replied. "Thank you for your input, Tsunade. You know, one of these days when I step down as Hokage, you will have to take over the position for me, because this office won't be vacant for very long. And yes, I do agree that what happened with Sasuke's family was a personal affair and that Itachi should not have gotten Naruto involved. They do deserve justice and closure after this, but right now, Naruto needs you to take care of him, since his surgery is crucial if he wants to have a speedy recovery. However, I feel that Itachi's assault on him has left scars that may never heal, but after the events here, it could impact their future as ninjas here in Konoha. Also, if you could please bring Sasuke in here, because it's important that we talk to him in order to figure out who actually did the killings and who his accomplices were. I am sure Sasuke will be more than obliged to help with the investigation," ordered the Hokage. "Hi. Sarutobi-sensei," called Tsunade as she leaves the office right away to fetch Sasuke. As she did that, she heads over to the hospital to prepare Naruto for surgery that only he can pull through. So once she locates Sasuke at the underground training hall near his home, he immediately heads over to the Hokage's office and hopefully put this whole thing to bed at all costs without thinking about it. Back in the hospital, Naruto was still waiting in his hospital room, hoping to get this surgery out of his mind, but he was still a bit upset after everything that has happened so far. However, Naruto knows that crying won't help solve any of his problems, but he decided to come to terms of accepting the loss of a family and move on. But even so, he would have a hard time of coping with this loss, since he was mentally and physically scarred, especially Sasuke, because he was just like Naruto, unable to cope with the loss of the family he loved for such a long time and getting over it. But nonetheless, no matter how much anger and pain that these two friends had endured, they would not rest until the killer is brought to justice. Elsewhere, Kakashi was looking at the gravestone of his best friend Obito and wonders if he had been haunted by the memories of all the people that he had lost and why he couldn't save him from his demise. The thought of Obito's death was just too much for him to handle alone. "Obito, the only reason why I dropped by for a visit was for you to please tell me why it is just us losing people that we love so much. What exactly did we do to deserve this? I was a fool to have abandoned you back when we were younger, and if you had just about a few more seconds, you wouldn't have met your demise. And I know that Sasuke will always have a part of you in his heart, I just know it. I hope you can understand that he also had lost a family that he loved so much, but the thought of losing a family just spurs painful memories for me. But I have already accepted the death of people and moved on with my life. I know it's hard for me to get over it, but I am trying. Forgive me, Obito," he thought to himself as he removed his head covering and moved the headband up to his forehead to do some praying while paying his respects to his deceased friend. "Naruto, no matter how much pain you are in, we are going to get you through this, you hear me?" he thought to himself. Back in the hospital, the medical team was already assembled to get Naruto's surgery done. However, Tsunade and Shizune were out at a nearby restaurant checking out the databook on the shinobi's combat statuses. She noticed that a lot of them seemed to be still low-level genin and some might still need room for improvement. But as she took at Naruto and Sasuke's statuses, she was amazed at how his combat skills have improved since his training started. But due to Itachi Uchiha's interference, Sasuke's training is being postponed until he is assigned to a squad, especially for Naruto. His fate is now in the hands of the doctors now after the brutal attack left him with broken bones, cuts and other severe injuries that left him almost paralyzed. But he was still as strong as ever and he will fight to survive anything. But there is nothing more painful than what these two friends have suffered in their childhood lives. Naruto Uzumaki, if you can hear me, please forgive me for trying to experiment on you, but I promise that a miracle will come your way, but I know that you will pull through this. You just need to have more faith in yourself. We all believe in you and our hearts will always be with you bothers forever. Don't give up hope, okay? You are one tough guy and I will get you both through this, thought Tsunade as she looked at the sky and the face of the blonde inside her head. She then packed up her things and headed towards the hospital where the medical staff greeted her and said, Naruto Uzumaki is ready for you. Tsunade-sama. I hope you are prepared for the challenge of a lifetime, said the medical ninja. Yup, I am ready for this challenge, my friends. If Naruto wants a miracle, I will be the first to give it to him. Although I cannot guarantee that the recovery process will take less than a week for him, Naruto will have to go through months of therapy and possibly weeks of rest at home before he can be back to 100% fighting form. We all know he will be in a lot of pain after this is over, replied Tsunade as she and the team gathered their equipments to begin the operation which could change Naruto's life forever. As Naruto looked at her and the other people around him, he slowly said to her, Grandma, Tsunade. I just hope that I don't develop complications during this delicate operation, but do what you can to make me better, okay? As the others looked at Naruto for a moment, Tsunade turned to him and said, well, we will do what we can to make you better, okay? Now, the medical staff will give you some medicine to keep you relaxed and sedated, okay? Don't worry, Naruto, everything will be fine and we will all get you through this, do you hear me? Naruto then nodded his head as the medicine went into the intravenous tube and he started counting backwards from 10 before he closed his eyes and went to sleep. All right, looks like we are ready to begin, Tsunade-sama, said the medical staff. Okay, let's make this operation as painless as possible for Naruto, okay? I don't to put him at risk of death, I mean it, ordered Tsunade. The others agreed with her as Operation Lifesaver begins. Meanwhile, as Sasuke was walking around the streets of Konoha, he could notice the Anbu guards surrounding him and said, I presume the Hokage sent you here to take me in for questioning, right? You are very observant, Sasuke Uchiha. Since you are the lone survivor of the massacre, it is important that you cooperate with us since we need for you to tell us exactly what happened in the night of your parents' murder. Please come with us, said the guards while escorting Sasuke to the Hokage's office. He was reluctant at first, but then he agreed to go with them on the condition that Naruto would be guaranteed protection from Itachi. It's really not up to us to decide on the fate of Naruto, you will have to talk to Hokage-sama about that, continued the guards. All right then, but I hope that we will agree to each other's promises, okay? We don't want Naruto to become a sacrificial lamb for the Akatsuki scums, replied Sasuke. And with that, the fate of Sasuke's former brother now commences in order to see justice done here in Konoha. To be continued. Remember to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next video.